Are we on, guys?
Yes.
Broadcast.
Okay. Sorry, got up to fill my coffee up. Okay, so our attendees are up to 20. It's a little light for us, guys.
Little light.
Yeah.
Well, there's also a council meeting at the same time.
Is there really?
There is.
Certainly not going to be as interesting as this meeting.
A caucus meeting. Yes.
Oh, right.
Okay, we're up to 22 on the attendees.
I think that's all you're getting, Chairman.
Yeah, let's start the meeting, everybody. So, can we have a call to order, please? And if you'll amuse me, I'll share my screen. And please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
to the
and
which is one nation under God,
under God,
with liberty,
and justice
justice for all.
for all.
Hey, everybody. All right, could we have the sunshine announcement, please?
Okay. Good evening. Today is Tuesday, September 8th, 2020. This is a meeting of the Jersey City Planning Board for the scheduled 5:30 p.m. start. In an effort to adhere to social distancing protocols and best practices imposed by city and state authorities, the City of Jersey City has canceled all public meetings starting March 16, 2020 until further notice. As a result, this planning board meeting is being held virtually as a video conference that is open to the public. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting has been given to the editor of the Jersey Journal, the Jersey City Reporter, and posted with the city clerk on September 1st and 4th. This meeting was also posted on the Jersey City Division of City Planning webpage, and all distribution materials made available to the board are published and available to the public.
Thanks, Erica. Could we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Commissioner Gangadin.
Here.
Commissioner Torres.
Here.
Commissioner Allen.
Here.
Commissioner Decor.
Here.
Vice Chairman
Here.
Gonzalez. And Chairman Langston.
Here.
Okay, we have 6 present.
Okay, Mike, could you swear in the staff, please?
I see Matt and Erica. I see Tanya's name. Is she here or no?
She's here.
All right.
Maybe we can swear her in a little bit later. I think she had to step away.
Great. So Mallory, Erica, Matt. You guys swear that any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Do we have any correspondence?
Yes. Item 8, the review and discussion of the proposed redevelopment plan for Laurel Saddlewood redevelopment plan that has been carried to a date uncertain. Item 11, case P20-024 with the address 211 Baldwin Avenue is adjourned to October 13th. And the other change on September 4th to the agenda is, item 17, case P19182 for 302 Morris Peston Drive. That has been carried to the September 22nd, 2020 meeting.
That it, Erica, or
Oh,
we have more?
oh, yes, the other item is item 13, case P20-097 for 151 West Side Avenue. That will have to be carried because we do not have a quorum.
I was
Oh,
actually,
because
I was
that's what
actually
you're talking about?
about others. But yeah,
Oh,
while you're
no.
about that, for case P20-097, 151 West Side Ave, the applicant is New Jersey City University. We have two commissioners that have to recuse on that application. So we won't be able to have a quorum. We need 5 for a quorum. We'll only have 4. So we're going to have to carry that to a date certain, September 22nd. No, the ones I was talking about, Erica, you left off on 17, P19-182 for 302 Morris Pessin Drive. We also have case P20-056 for 30 River Court is
Yes.
carried to a date certain, September 22nd.
Yes,
We
we also have item 19, case P20-059 for 67 Virginia Avenue. That is carried to September 22nd. Case number 20, P20-065 for 102 104 Lady Avenue. That is also carried to September 22nd with preservation of notice. Case 21, P19157 for 648 Montgomery Street. This is carried to September 22nd with preservation of notice. Case P20-005 for 401-405 Whitman Street is carried to September 22nd with preservation of notice. Case item 23, case P20-022 for 405 Route 440 is also carried to September 22nd, 2020. Case 24, item 24, case P19-185 266 Webster Avenue is carried to September 22nd with preservation of notice. Item 25, case P20005 for 408-410 Whitman Street and 309-311 Pine Street is also carried to September 22nd with preservation of notice.
Okay, thanks, Erica. And before we go on, one more time, I just want to let everybody know we
Go
have.
ahead, Doc, you can talk. You don't have to wave. No, I can't hear you, actually. No.
We can't hear any.
Can you hear everybody? Okay, but you can't talk,
Yeah, we can't hear you, Doc.
and you're not muted. Huh? Now you're muted.
Now you're muted. No, we have
I
nothing.
still can't hear you.
Chairman, I also note while Doc is trying to figure out his technical difficulty, Council Mazway has her hand raised. She is the attorney for the New Jersey City University application. I know that you have a conflict.
Yeah.
I don't know who the other commissioner is that's caused us not to make a quorum, but I have no problem with you recusing yourself and the other person recusing themselves, and we can have Council Mazway speak. I don't know that I can help her as much as I would like to. Hi, Council.
Hi, Council. Thank you.
How are
If
you?
I may, this is unfortunate, and I understand there will not be additional board members joining, commissioners joining that could make a quorum, for instance, later in the evening. Is that correct?
Erica, what's can we pull from the zoning board? I forget the circumstances where we can pull from the zoning.
I think we got to go through all of the planning board members before we could go that route if we had to out of necessity. Is it possible that one of the other board members would be able to join? I do know that council has a contractual issue. I've spoken to her. She mentioned it at the last hearing. So,
Yeah.
Chairman, I have no problem if council wants to stick around throughout the meeting in hopes that somebody were to appear. I don't think it's very likely. I don't think anybody else is coming.
Okay, well, if nobody else is coming, I just want to make sure for the record, I did not hear us say that we'll preserve my notice for the next meeting. I certainly would want to do that if we can't be heard tonight. You know, if there is, I guess I would say if there's a likelihood that another board member might join, I would be willing to stay, but if it doesn't look likely, then I would just assume put it off, but preserve our notice for the next meeting.
I don't think it's likely, council. We heard from everybody today,
Okay,
and I apologize. I knew I had to recuse. We have one other commissioner that I completely forgot how to recuse. She lives within the 200 feet. So I thought we were going to get you in under the wire with 5, but I apologize.
that's okay, thank you.
Yeah, so we'll preserve your notice to September 22nd.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Have a good
Thank you.
evening.
Apologize.
Thank you, council.
Can you guys hear me now?
Gotcha, Doc.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, you did it, Doc.
Sorry about that. Thanks, guys.
I also I just want to plug the master plan once again. We did it last meeting. Let's do it again tonight. Mallory, can you put the website in the chat for everybody?
Yes, I'll put the link to the surveys that we're looking to have everybody fill out, and you can explore the website from there.
Okay, and I just noticed this weekend we have an Instagram page that is at JC Master Plan on Instagram. At JC Master Plan, all one word. Okay, thanks everybody. Do we have Mr. Harrington ready to go for Pacific Ave, and we'll just leapfrog the artist certifications for now, and we'll get right back to them.
Yeah, I'm promoting chat.
Yeah, we're ready to go if the board's ready.
Sure. So, okay, I'll call case P20-043 as a preliminary and final major site plan for 260 Pacific Avenue. And just for the record, I am going to recuse on this one. So, Doc, you're up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you in a bit.
Thank you. Mr. Harrington?
Okay, thank you. Before I get started, I just ask that the public notices be marked into evidence. We did renotice for this case because we were before the board in early August, and it got carried to the next meeting, I believe, is August 25th, but there was kind of a disconnect. So it was put on the agenda, but it got placed on this agenda too. So, and to err on side of caution, we renoticed.
Thank you, Mr. Harrington. I am in receipt of multiple affidavits of publication and proof of mailings with respect to the application. I do find all of them to be in order, and we can mark those as A1 for the record.
Thank you. So I'll give just a brief history for, I don't recall which board members were here in early August. The application before you, it is an as-of-right application. We're not requesting any variances or deviations. It is the proposed rehabilitation of an existing church with a one-story vertical addition. The proposal is 7 residential units. There is no parking. There is none required. The footprint of the building is not expanding out horizontally at all. I can tell the board that this was before you approximately a year ago as part of amendments to the Morris Canal redevelopment plan. At that time, it was proposed to have 9 units, and a rear yard addition is actually permitted under the zoning. When we got to the city council, we did have some community input where it was discussed that they thought 9 units was a little too much, so it was agreed at that time to reduce it to 7 units. Since that time, my client has also decided not to do the rear yard addition. If the board members may recall, there are 2 large trees in the backyard. There were some concerns about how they were going to be treated during the construction, and we had agreed to have an arborist go out and check them prior to any rear yard addition, but none is being proposed, so those trees will remain. So other than that, it is straightforward. We did present to the Morris Canal Development Corporation when we proposed the amendments. We also went back in August and presented, and then there was a subsequent meeting in the middle of August at the request of this board, and we had that via Zoom as well. So with that said, the application hasn't changed since the last time, and I have Jeff Lewis as my architect, who will take you through the proposal.
Okay, Mr. Lewis? Hi.
Hi, Jeff. Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And for the record, could you state and spell your name, please?
It's Jeffrey Lewis, Jeffrey Lewis. And for the record, my license is active and in good standing in New Jersey.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I was just going to ask you that. You've been qualified with us before, obviously, right?
I have, yes.
Okay, thank you. You're qualified.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to start sharing my screen here and get right to it. So what we're looking at here is the bottom of my T100 sheet, and I just wanted to orientate everyone briefly. We are on 260 Pacific Avenue. It's Pacific Avenue, excuse me. It's right in the middle of Pacific Avenue. To the northeast, the first street is Communipaw Avenue, and then to the southwest, it's Bramman Hall. Just so everyone knows where we are. And then I'm going to go right to the site plan and show you the changes we're talking about on the site. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit to help make this a little clearer. Okay, so starting from the front, here's Pacific Avenue. We are going to be removing and replacing the entire concrete sidewalk in the front. The first 5 feet of it, we're going to replace with permeable pavers. This is an existing street tree that we will be keeping. And then this second street tree is a new tree that we will be planting. This front railing stuff will be restored and repaired, and I'll show you some images of that later. Most of the front will remain the same and just be repaired. This hatch section that's rectangular here in the rear is showing where the second floor addition to the building will be. So it's set back behind that main section of the front building. The side yards remain the same. And then again, the rear yard, we're not touching at all. The only small things we're doing back here, these 2 new window wells for the basement units, they're 3.5 feet by 8 feet across. We're putting our 7 condensers for our air conditioning in the backyard. And then we're doing new board-on-board fences on each side of the property because the side yard fences are not in great shape. And that's the site plan. And now I'm going to go right to the floor plans. Skip over some of this. Okay, so we have 2 plans for each. The left is the existing plan and the right is the proposed. To the left, starting at the left, we have the existing basement. It's a very open plan. There's nothing down here. You can see from the photo that it's very clear. And we actually have a 9-foot ceiling here now, so it's not a problem putting residential units down here. We are proposing a central staircase with 2 units, and then in the front of the building, we'll have our sprinkler room, a bicycle storage room, and a trash room. The 2 units are both 1-bedroom, 1-bath units, and they are, I forgot the square footage of each. They are each 476 square feet, open living, dining, kitchen, washer, dryer in the unit, and then again, the bedroom with the exit access to the rear. Looking at the first floor, we have the existing first floor. Again, you can see an image of the main church space, which is this space here. In the front, right now, there's an existing office, vestibule in the center, and stair, which goes up and down on the side here. We will be keeping that central vestibule and then having a center staircase, as you can see, central vestibule, central staircase. And again, we're doing 2 units on this floor. These units are slightly larger than the units downstairs because we're adding this kitchen area in the front here. So these units are 551 square feet, 553 square feet. And these are also still 1-bedroom apartments. Then on the 3rd floor, right now existing, this is the open space. And up here we have a stair that's coming up with access to the belfry. We are proposing to put new ceiling joists, new floor joists across this space. We'll leave a 9-foot ceiling for the first floor, and then we're going to have a 9-foot ceiling for the new proposed second floor, which we are showing up here. There are 3 units on this floor, 1 studio that's in the front, and that's a 358 square foot studio, and then 2 1-bedroom units that are 436 and 432 square feet. And then the only thing I guess I didn't mention previously besides the washer dryer is all of these units do have heat and air conditioning that will be provided with wall-mounted mini splits. So everything will be ductless with the condensers in the backyard. Looking at the right here, we have some of the existing windows that we're going to be saving on the site. So the first set of windows are most of the side windows. So it's on the first floor, actually. It's 5 of the 6 windows that are double windows that are on the side of the building are like this. And then 2 of them, actually, the bottom panes have been replaced. But we're still going to treat all of these the same. The glass itself is, it's old. We're going to just clean it as gently as we can. The window frames and and all the trim, we're going to scrape clean, sand it, and repaint it the same green color that it is now. And then the same with the front window here. This is the window that's above the front entry. This is the exterior view of it, the interior view of it. And this window is here in the studio apartment. So this will have a really nice high ceiling and great window in the front here. We're going to restore this in the same way and sand everything down, repaint everything. And then I mentioned the front gates and front railings. We are going to strip all these down. Some of it needs a little bit of repair, so we'll do a little fixing and then repaint everything black as it is now. Looking at the elevations, I want to start on the front elevation here on the left. You can see the existing is mostly staying, and this is the small addition. You can see this is the most of it that you can see from the front, but really because it's set back, you're not going to see this from the street at all. However, the finish of that new elevation is going to be these simulated copper panels, and that's something we worked with planning to put in. All of the brick is going to be restored, so we're going to clean it, repair it, and repoint all of it. All of these side windows are going to be new wood windows. Right now, these windows are replacing what would be louvered openings, and these are replacing windows that are just, they could use replacing. There are a few louvers that we'll be adding, and those will also be painted the same color as everything else. We are also replacing the aluminum storefront entry with a new aluminum storefront entry, and the roofing on the 2 towers will be replaced with a new metal shingles. And if you look, there's a photo here at the bottom right. These are the metal shingles that we're proposing to use on these 2 towers. The rear elevation, right now, there's a stucco finish on the 1 story that's there. We're proposing to add a story and extend that stucco finish up the 2nd floor and paint everything the same color that it is right now, which is kind of a mustard yellow type color. Looking at the side elevations, again, you can see the stained glass windows that we'd be keeping in the first floor units on each side, and then the one that's been replaced a little bit. The new 2nd floor will be will have a stucco finish, which would match the rest of the building, including what's just below. The new roof will be asphalt roofing. All the new windows are going to be wood double hung windows. They'll be painted the same color that we paint the windows below, and they're set to line up to match up with the windows below as well. The pitch of this roof which I didn't mention before. I could show you. It actually matches the existing roof pitch and the roof pitch that you can see that has remained. And that's actually all you need to see on the elevation, I believe. That's my presentation. If anyone has any questions, I can answer them.
Anybody, any questions?
Yes, I have a question, Commissioner Torres. Back to your basement, 2 units in a basement.
Yes.
It's only the one entrance into that basement and exit. Is there any other way out of there, or?
There's.
Go ahead.
We have one stair to the basement, and then the second way out for each of these units would be through the emergency exit in the rear. These are these window wells are 3.5 feet by 8 feet, and they're like 4 feet deep. So this is their second means of egress, is out the back windows.
Okay. And so the garbage would how would they take the garbage out? Up the stairs and out the building?
It's going to have to go, yes, out the front stairs. Yes,
bicycles would be the same way. You're going to bring your bicycle downstairs into the basement.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Anyone else? Council?
That completes our presentation.
Okay, that was pretty straightforward. I guess since that's completed, I'll open up to the public. If there's anyone here from the public here to testify on this case. And I guess, Erica, how do we do this? They raise their hand. What else?
Yes,
okay.
They raise their hand, or if they're on a phone, they can press *9.
Okay.
There's Nikita here has had the hand raised for a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and promote to panelists.
Okay. Miss Nikita, you're muted. There you go.
Can you see me okay?
We can now. You just have to be sworn in for us.
Hello, how you doing? Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And can you state and spell your name for me, please?
Nikita Feifel.
Can you spell that?
F-N-A-K-I-T-A. F as in Frank, D as in David, Y as in yellow, F as in Frank, I, L as in Larry.
Thanks.
And ma'am,
Okay.
just to let you know, we have 3 minutes, okay, to the public. So you're limited to 3 minutes.
Sure.
Okay.
I wrote everything down. It was my concern. I joined the last meeting and I was looking for the follow-up at the council. The community meeting, but I never got an invite. I went down the street a couple of times to be added. I didn't get to speak last time because we were supposed to regroup. I had quite a few concerns. I'm 2 doors down from this. My concern was hardship for the residents regarding parking. Why isn't the board requiring parking for these units? We already cannot park anywhere in the area now. Proof of mailing was another concern. The only mailing I got was today's meeting invite and the one from last meeting. So that was a concern of mine. Yes, so, I wanted to, of course, since there's only 3 minutes, make sure maybe someone from the Pacific Avenue also have concerns, but I had major concerns regarding those.
Council, did you want to go ahead and?
Well, sure.
Mr. Harrington, just before you start, first of all, the 3-minute rule applies to each individual. So you get 3 minutes and everybody else gets 3 minutes.
Okay, we should have known that. I was trying to be kind.
Total public.
As far as the notice, the notice is for our meetings. Obviously, you receive the notices for these meetings. You're attending, so you're aware of that. With respect,
it's going to affect me. Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then with respect to the parking, the plan does not require any parking, as I understand it. So it's just not required by the plan. We follow what the plans tell us. But this plan for that property, as enacted by the governing body, does not require parking. The governing body being the council.
Okay, and I guess the question is, why does the council not require it? Right now, there is a lot of development occurring. We're working from home. We need somewhere to put our cars. We currently don't. I've gotten 2 tickets because I can't even move my car when the sweeper is coming. So I'm just in consideration of the hardship for the current residents. Why is that not considered a requirement for these new developments? Most of everyone here is a homeowner that's been here their whole lives.
Right, I think I could address that. As part of the amendments, and typically when you have an adaptive reuse zoning, not only in Morris Canal, but throughout the city, you don't require parking because you're trying to keep the building in its, current state, if you will, and not create, holes in the building. So most of the time when you have an adaptive reuse of the building, there parking is not required unless there's something that you can easily convert it to.
Yeah, if I could, Chuck, just very quickly, in this situation, we couldn't save the building and provide parking. We couldn't do both. It's one or the other here. And the community wanted to save the building.
Save the building or provide parking.
Excuse me?
Okay. I just was repeating
it was
what
one
you
or the
said.
other.
I
I'm
didn't
sorry.
hear.
Yeah, it's competing interests a lot of times between the saving and adaptive reuse of the building and can you have any parking?
Those are my concerns. It doesn't sound like it's going to sway any of these decisions. It's really going to be difficult. It sounds like it went down to 7 units, even though it's a 1-bedroom, 1 bathroom for each unit. It sounds like it could be 2 people for each unit. So that's another 14 people on the block. And so it's going to be extremely difficult. And it sounds like even with the revamping of the sidewalks, that's going to affect us as well. So it just doesn't sound like we were considered in this development. And it's going to be a hardship for those that live in this community currently. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Nikita. Is there anyone else from the public?
Yes, I just promoted Vinny.
Okay, Vinny, you're muted. There we go.
Hi, my name is Anna Ortiz. I'm a co-owner of 267 Pacific Avenue.
How's it going? I just need to swear you in. Can you turn your video on?
Okay, is that fine?
Yep, that's great. Hi. Do you try to give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And can you just state and spell your name for me, please?
My name is Anna Ortiz Rivas.
Thank you.
Mr. Ortiz Rivas, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, we
Go ahead.
have a house directly across from the church. It's 267 Pacific Avenue. And we had a number of infrastructure issues with the water line in front of, directly in front of the church. We've had to have an extensive repair. And right now we also have some issues with storm drainage and with the sewer backing up. So my concern is having another multi-family unit that we would have more problems concerning the infrastructure of the area. I'm wondering if there are any improvements going to be made to the sewer line, storm drainage, and will it impact on the water system, because our water pressure has been very low, has decreased considerably since the construction of the new housing project down on the end of Pacific Avenue. So I'm concerned that this is going to impact all the properties on Pacific Avenue. And that's my concern. Is there going to be some type of improvement to the storm drainage? Because in the past, we've had to call the city to consistently clean out the sewer line, which is, I believe it's right next to my neighbor's house. There's a sewer there that is constantly have foul smell coming out of it. And when that happens, we have to call the city for them to come out and clean it. So with an additional 7 units coming into the area, you know, that's going to impact all of us on Pacific Avenue.
Okay, Mr. Harrington, you care to?
Well, I don't know if there's any specific improvements called out on the plans for this, but we'd, like any other development, we're going to have to work with the JCMUA as to their requirements. So if they require that there be improvements to the utilities to service this, then we will be required to do that. That's part of the permitting process.
Last year, I believe 2 years ago, I had to repair the water line because I don't know if you're aware, but there's a lot of truck traffic on Pacific Avenue, heavy vehicles coming through. And I was told that was because of all the, you know, the impact, the heaviness of all these vehicles coming through. So I was unfortunately had to make a $23,000 improvement on the water line because of the damage. And I didn't get reimbursed by the city or anything. That had to come out of pocket for us. So having so many other units in the area, that really concerns me. You know, I'm concerned with the infrastructure, the sewer, the storm drainage, you know, the water line, the water pressure.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ortiz-Rivas. That's all?
Yeah, if it could be lowered, you know, the amount of units, maybe that would have a lesser impact on the system.
Is any of this brought up to the planning staff or for the rest of the redevelopment in that area? Have we sort of looking into this? Because I do understand that the increase of development, if there is a decrease in the water volume, the water department needs to work on the infrastructure, just as then there's a need to work on the sewer. As we move forward with certain plans, we're going to find out, listening to the neighbors and the people from the community, there's different reasons why we lose pressure of water. And one of them 2 years ago could have nothing to do with the development, could have been what they said, trucks driving down, and it's an old water pipe. I have that situation in my house now with a water line losing volume. It doesn't have nothing to do with development. But if there is, the planning staff could maybe send a letter to the MUA and double check this as if we're going to move forward with more development in that area to see if because it's not common for sewers to be clean all the time. And if people are starting to lose pressure after one complex was built, then there's an issue. That should be a red flag. So thank you for calling and letting us know. You might want to let your council person for that area know too.
All right, yeah, that
let them
happened
know.
a long time ago, the
Yeah,
water
but-
pressure thing. That we've had a problem since that new development down the block.
Yeah, 'cause things are gonna keep getting developed, but we need to know these things. So if you let your council person know, and then they can look into MUA and with Suez of increasing the water sizes if it's necessary, and do a study on it as we do go forward with other developments that might come through. Yeah.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Thanks for your call.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for calling, Ms. Ortiz-Rivas.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
I just promoted Jacqueline.
Hi, can you see me?
Yes, I can.
All right, I need to swear you in, okay?
Okay.
Do you swear any testimony you give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Can you state and spell your name for me, please?
Jacqueline, Jackkeline. Last name is Cascante, Cascante.
Ms. Constante, we have 3 minutes, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I just wanted to reiterate some of the concerns that were already expressed by my neighbors, but really just stress this parking issue. I've been here over 15 years now. Parking has always been and unfortunately remains a big issue in this area. We have a lot of homeowners that are seniors and unfortunately at times are forced to park blocks away. That along with the fact that we have a 4-day street cleaning schedule only complicates things. So in the mornings here on those days, it's very hectic here with cars double parked, with people searching for parking and having to constantly move their vehicles. And so adding, this 7-unit apartment building is extremely concerning with the potential of more than one driver for each unit. Is definitely going to be a hardship for the community. And it's unfortunate that that wasn't explored, when planning this project.
Okay, Ms. Cascante, thank you. Is there anyone else from the public? Erica, no one?
No, I don't see anyone else raising any hands.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to close the public.
Mr. Chairman, would like to make a motion, seeing no more public, would like to make a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Thank you. Public is closed now. And now I think it's Erica, right, Erica? From staff?
Yes, I was the
Perfect.
review planner for this application. I know Matt Ward can provide some context for this redevelopment plan and this amendment to the plan. I believe he worked on that, but as you heard from during the presentation, this proposal really meets the amendment to the plan. It meets the requirements of Zone G, and there are some of the standard conditions in my staff report that is dated August 7th. And I believe this was also shared with the attorney. And right, Chuck, you received the staff report?
Yes, those proposed conditions would be acceptable.
And I'm not sure if Matt wanted to speak to any of the concerns that some of the public mentioned.
This application first came before planning board as a plan amendment request for an existing building that we're reviewing here tonight. All the neighbors, I'm sure, are familiar with building. It is formerly a Baptist church, and it's quite a nice architectural resource for that block. The property owner or applicant tonight made the amendment request. It was carried through planning board, recommended to council, and council voted on it. The unit count has been reduced through that process. And even further, it seems as though this application has removed a rear addition. So they are keeping the footprint of the existing building. They're not increasing the impervious coverage as part of this application. So they're having a very minimal impact as far as stormwater. Speaking to one of the comments that was made tonight, I believe that the applicant responded to the parking questions, and staff will reiterate, yes, it is difficult to accommodate off-street parking when you are adaptively reusing the building, not looking to alter that building architecturally. To do one or the other, you couldn't achieve both. So I think staff would agree with the applicant in that case. Beyond that, I don't know if I have any other comments, Erica. Thank you for the floor.
Thanks, Matt. Is that it, Erica?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, would like to make a motion to approve case P 20-043 for preliminary and final major site plans for 260 Pacific Avenue.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for approval of case P20-043. Erica, roll call?
Commissioner Gangadin,
So this evening, I want to thank the public for coming out and voicing their concerns. Since the project met all the requirements for the redevelopment plan, I'll vote yes.
Commissioner Torres,
I feel the same way as the commissioner just spoke, and thank you for all the people. Let us know, let your council people know, because we do look at your further development in areas. And the neighbors let us know the problems they're going through. We can develop the area correctly. So it's in compliance with the land, so I will vote aye.
Commissioner Allen,
Anytime there's a building that's repurposed and using anything that's existing, I'm always going to be an aye.
Commissioner Thakur,
Aye.
and Vice Chair Gonzalez.
Same thing. I appreciate the public for coming out. We understand the concerns you may have, although in this case, there's really nothing we could do. I mean, there was actually an improvement from decreasing the units to no rear yard addition. And so because it meets the criteria, I'm an aye.
Okay, motion carries. All in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Erica,
you.
can you leave me on?
Can we bring Mr.
Who said that? Oh, Jeffrey. Okay.
Jeff, yes, thank you.
Can we bring Chairman back in? Oh, there he is.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Erica, is it okay if we get back to the artist certification? And maybe we just get the site plans over with before we talk administrative amendments?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, so, all right, I'm gonna jump to item 12 on our agenda is case P20-068 is a preliminary and final major site plan for 87 Storms Avenue. Do we have Tom Lean on?
I believe Benjamin Nadel is going to be testifying for him tonight.
Okay, sounds good.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Ben Nadel from the law firm of Connell Foley, appearing on behalf of the applicant Green Homes Developer Incorporated. Before I get started, I would ask for counsel to enter the affidavits and notice into the record, please.
Thank you. Good evening, council. I am in receipt of the affidavit of publication, proof of mailing with respect to this application. It was for a prior meeting and preserved for this evening. Had the opportunity to review it. All does appear to be in order, so we can mark that as A1 for the record.
Thank you, counsel.
Just another point of housekeeping. Lindsay Sigmund just joined us. She's the review planner for tonight, and she wasn't able to be sworn in earlier. So, Mike, could we just swear her in?
Oh, Lindsay, do you swear to testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, counsel.
Thank you. So the property this evening, 87 Storms Avenue, identified as block 15203, lot 4. Property is located in the neighborhood commercial zone. It's presently improved with an attached 2-story single-family residential building. Applicant's proposing to demolish the existing structure and construct a 4-story multifamily building containing 11 units, along with associated site improvements, including the addition of a street tree, the removal of non-conforming chain link fencing, the addition of a rear lawn area, and a patio comprised of brick pavers. The roof plan also includes approximately 1,000 square feet of green roof tiles. Just quick housekeeping, we received a review letter from the JCMUA. It's dated August 24th, 2020. Also received a Division of Engineering review letter, also dated August 24th of this year, and the applicant agrees to comply with all conditions set forth in both of those review letters. Just want to mention that the applicant this evening is presenting a conforming project. We're not seeking any variance relief from the board this evening. So with that said, I will ask for our architect, Jeff Lewis, to be sworn in again for this presentation.
That's okay. Mr. Lewis has been sworn already. He's under oath. He's under oath until midnight tonight. And he has...
Won't be that long.
I wasn't listening, but I'm assuming you were qualified as well?
I am qualified, yes, thank you.
Go ahead.
And I will not take until midnight, I promise.
I hope not.
I will start by sharing my screen and showing everyone where we are. So again, we're looking at the bottom right corner of the title sheet here. Here's the overhead view. Here's the zoning chart. We are on Storms Avenue, and there's actually one site between us and the corner of Storms Avenue and Monticello Avenue. And that site is owned by Jersey City, and it's kind of an unusual shaped site, and it's used as basketball courts right now. So we're proposing a new 4-story, 11-unit building on this site, and I'm actually going to jump right to the site plan and get into what we're doing. And I'll zoom in a little bit because this is small. And so you can see, first of all, we are proposing a lot line to lot line building. In the front, right now, our building has a curb cut, the existing building, a curb cut and a parking space in front of the building. So we're actually removing that curb cut, and we're removing that existing nonconformity of the curb cut of the parking space in the front yard. We'll be doing a new sidewalk and also proposing a new street tree to replace that curb cut. In the rear yard, we have a patio, which we'll show at the first floor plan, and then a lawn area that's about 25 by 15, and then a new fence around. Let me zoom out, and we'll go to those floor plans and walk through everything. Okay, so we'll start at the bottom with the first floor plan. The street is actually over here. This is the corner with the basketball courts up here. So at the first floor, we have two main entries to the building. The first entry goes straight to a stair to the second floor. The second entry actually comes in and into the residential lobby. This accesses the 2 units on this floor, a stair, a bicycle storage room, and a small trash room for the residents of this floor. These two units are both ADA adaptable units. The front unit is a studio that is 521 square feet. The rear unit is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit, which is 801 square feet. And this unit also has sliding doors which access the rear yard patio and lawn area. And then very quickly, this stair also goes down to a small basement. It's just this small area in the middle here of the building. We have a large trash room down here, then a meter room and a sprinkler room because the building will be fully sprinklered. Going to the upper floors, the second floor, the third floor, and the fourth floor all have the same unit layout. So I'm just going to show it here on the fourth floor. And it's 3 units on this floor, 2 1-bedrooms in the front and back of the building, and then a studio in the center. The 1-bedroom units are 530 and 527 square feet, and the studio is exactly 500 square feet. All of these units have a washer dryer in the unit, and we're using wall-mounted mini splits for heat and air conditioning. The rear unit actually also has a balcony, which is 5 feet by about 12 feet. Then also the roof plan, we do by code need to bring a stair up to the roof, but we're not providing a occupiable roof deck on this building. However, we are using the roof deck for our condensers, which you can see on the back and front of the building where I'm showing. And then for these green roof tray areas, both in the front and the back, and they total 1,005 square feet in total. Going to the elevations. On the right, we have our, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here too. So to the right, we have our front building elevation. The main material for our building is a brick. It's a red-brown brick with a smooth finish. Our accent material is a light beige cast stone. It's a 30-inch cast stone at the 30-inch high cast stone base. Then at each floor level, we have an 8-inch band, and also 4-inch sills underneath all of the windows, which are also the same cast stone. At the top of the building, we have a stucco cornice. It's a 39-inch deep cornice, and it's painted jet black in color. We also have an awning, a modern awning that's above the entire first floor of the building. This projects out 4 feet from the building and is also wrapped in of jet black aluminum. It's the same with the window frames and the door frames for the front of the building. They're all aluminum wrapped and jet black in color. And then lastly, we have these accent panels next to each of the entry doors. And these panels are actually dark gray hardy panels. Looking to the rear elevation, the ground floor is a stucco finish, and the stucco color is painted to, it's a smooth finish, and it's painted to match the existing brick color, not the existing, but the new brick color of the front of the building. All of our doors and windows will still be black frames, except they'll be vinyl instead of aluminum. Our upper levels will have dark gray vinyl siding, and our balconies off of the rear have aluminum posts and cables that are painted black. Let me zoom out and go to the side elevations to show you what we have going on there. Okay, this is the side facing the basketball court. The first floor is a stucco finish, again painted to be the same color to match the brick finish at the front, and then the upper levels are vinyl siding, a dark gray vinyl siding. And then it's the same on the other side, except for the areas where we are attached to the building next to us, which will seal off the space between the two buildings. And that is our building that we're proposing. I can answer any questions that you may have about it.
Thank you, Jeff. So Jeff is our only witness for this evening, so could open it up for questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lewis. I noticed there's no PTAC units on the building. Is that true?
That's right. We're using wall-mounted mini splits, and the condensers are located on the roof.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a big fan of no PTAC units, so thank you.
Agreed.
Anybody else? Any questions?
Yes, I have just one question.
Go ahead, Jeffrey.
I was looking for it. I can't find it. What's the length of the building? The depth, excuse me.
I believe the total depth is, oh, right here, hold on. It's an odd number because our lot is actually 115 feet deep, so we were actually able to have a little slightly deeper. So.
Oh, okay, I see it now.
It looks, right, so we're about a little more than 92 feet in total. I think it's 92 and a half feet.
Okay.
Anybody else? Any questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you.
Council, anything else from you?
Not at this time. Just.
Okay, thanks. So let's open it up to public comment. Is there anybody here from public that wants to comment? If you could, please raise your hand. If you are calling in, press *9 to raise your hand. Anybody from public, please raise your hand. If you're
See no public, I move to close the public portion.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second to close public. Public is closed. Lindsay, I'm sorry. You want to wrap us up?
Yeah, just a brief background. This was originally filed as a zoning board application, but with the amendments to the NC zone language, the applicant decided to refile as an as-of-right project. My main comments during review really just had to do with the size of the units, which has since been revised, and with the design of the building, which was also revised to better complement the existing buildings in the area. Other than that, I did write a brief staff report, which we can mark, dated August 18th, 2020, which also recommends approval with the standard conditions. I would just want to add a condition that comments from JCMUA and Jersey City Engineering are shown on final signature plans. And other than that, that's it for me, unless anyone has any questions.
Okay, thank you. Council, you've received the staff report?
We have, and we accept those conditions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And you did note before that you would accept the conditions of the MUA and Jersey City Engineering.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion at this time to approve case P20-068 as presented to the board here tonight.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
All right, Commissioner Gangadin,
Aye.
Commissioner Torres,
Aye.
Commissioner Allen,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Dr. Gonzalez,
Aye.
and Chairman Langston.
Aye.
With 6-4, none opposed, motion carries with conditions.
Thank you. All right, let's jump ahead to item 16 on the agenda. It's our last site plan that we're going to hear tonight. It's case P19-090. The address is 252 Webster Avenue.
All right, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, this is carried from the last hearing, so I'd just like to confirm the notices are still valid.
Yes, yeah, they were carried the last meeting.
Great, thank you.
Let's mark them as A1 just for the record, but I am to receive the affidavit of publication proof of mailing. I've had the opportunity to review them, and they all are in order.
Thank you. Okay, 252 Webster Avenue. This is in the Webster Avenue redevelopment zone. It's a 37.5 by 100 lot. The applicant is proposing a subdivision of the lot into two 18.75 by 100 lots. The conforming lot in this zone is 17 by 100, so these will be two new conforming lots. The applicant is also proposing the new construction of a 3-story 2-family home on each new lot. There will be a 2-car garage and there will be a shared curb cut for both new lots. There are no variances associated with the new construction or with the subdivision. Alan Feld is our architect tonight. I know he's having some technical difficulties. I believe he's attempting to call in right now.
If
Alan,
you could,
go ahead, Erica.
okay, maybe if this person could raise their hand by pressing *9 so we know which on their phone. Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and allow them to speak.
There we go.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, Alan. Can you
Yes.
hear me?
I'm here. I can hear, yes.
All right, great. This is Mike. I'm the reporter. I just want to swear you in, okay?
Okay.
Do you swear any testimony that you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And for the record, can you state and spell your name, please?
Alan Feld, A-L-A-N-F-E-L-D.
Thank you.
Mr. Felt, good evening. This is Chairman Langston. Obviously, we've qualified you numerous times in the past. Your license is current tonight?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you're qualified again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I could go ahead and share my screen to show the plans, Alan. This is a relatively, whoops. Where did it go? Are you guys able to see the plan?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So it's a relatively straightforward application, but Alan, if you want to take us through it briefly, we're on the cover page right now.
So this application involves subdividing an existing lot into 2 equal lots and constructing two-family houses on each lot. That's the application.
Okay, and Alan, the size of each unit, how many bedrooms do we have? Two bedroom units, it looks like, in each one. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. 2-car garage on the ground floor, storage space in the rear. Is that also correct?
That is correct.
And then a private roof deck, one separate for each unit on the roof. Is that also correct?
Yes, on the roof deck, we've provided landscaping on the roof deck.
And we'll just go over to the elevations now. Anything special you want to say about the elevations, Alan?
So we have the materials are well, it's a 3-story building. Again, we have brick, veneer, black casement windows, and dark gray metal siding on the front of the building. Sorry, I'm outside if you hear that noise.
And again, I'd like to apologize to the board for the technical difficulties. Otherwise, Alan, it's a conforming subdivision. The new structures that are proposed are completely conforming and in accordance with the redevelopment zone.
That is correct.
Okay. We also had the plans reviewed by the tax assessor for the new lots and new property addresses, and those are marked on the plans as lot 14.1 and 14.2, numbers 250 and 250. So that would conclude our direct testimony. The board has some specific questions for Alan.
Thank you. Just a quick question. I think the roof deck provided by the parapet wall, there's no actual roof.
I'm sorry.
Chairman, we can't hear you.
You guys, you hear me?
Yes, better.
Okay. The roof
Yes.
deck, there's no railing for the roof deck, correct? It's just covered by the parapet wall?
That's correct. The parapet wall raises up to provide, a barrier instead of a railing.
Okay. And the other question, currently, I think there's 2 units, I think it's just 2 stories on the lot currently.
Oh, yes. We did obtain a determination of significance to demolish the existing structure. There's no historic value.
And it's there's those, right?
Really breaking up there, Chris.
Yeah, I think it's actually Alan. Alan, can you mute it? I think it's cutting in. All right, let's try it again.
Try again.
So the units that are there now, I think there's a single curb cut for both units. So there's no new curb cut proposed?
It's an existing depressed curb. We're rebuilding it, but it's not a new depressed curb.
Okay, so it's not moving. It's going to be in the same spot.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's it for me. Anybody else? Any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead, Jeffrey.
For the gas meters, I'm looking on the first floor plan. I see the hot water tanks. Where the gas meters be located?
They're in the garage,
Okay,
in the front.
in the front. Okay, that's the only question. Thank you.
Anybody else? Anything?
Yeah, I am, I guess maybe the planning staff can help me with this one, or Alan, you can help me. You just had something showing the other sides of different lots in the neighborhood. I think we have other lots in that neighborhood that are 18 feet wide, or 17. And what is it we're talking about? Are we talking 17 feet? Because that's what you said. Well, what's on the application, 18.75.
So 17 by 100 is a conforming lot in this zone. In the R1, it's 25 by 100. But because it's a redevelopment zone, they have separate requirements.
Okay.
Which are the conforming lot 17 by 100. We have a little bit more than that at 18.75.
Yeah, okay. No, I just wanted to see why was it conforming, and thanks for answering the question.
Eddie, I'm not too far away from there, and it's typical for the area. Not every lot, obviously, but there's a number of lots that are smaller.
Yes, I
Yeah,
see
you
it.
can see on the plans now.
Yes, I saw it on the plans. When I got it, right now I can't get the plans up on my tablet, but I had them on the other day, and I can see that many of those lots are consistent with a narrow, even on Sherman Place behind it, Sherman Avenue behind it.
Yeah.
Same way. Okay. Thank you.
Any questions? Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Anything else from you?
That concludes our testimony.
Okay, thank you. All right. Good,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Feld. We appreciate you calling in. Okay. Council, can you stop sharing your screen? Okay. Is anybody here from public that wants to comment? If you could, please raise your hand. If you're calling in, you can press *9 to raise your hand and we'll call on you. Anybody from public, please raise your hand. If you're
Seeing
calling.
no public, I move to close the public portion.
Second.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Public is closed. Mallory, anything to add?
Just that they did file this application prior to the Webster Avenue redevelopment plan expiring. It did expire at the end of 2019, but they filed under the current plan when it was active. They do meet the definition of a townhome. So the reason that they are permitted to have such narrow lots is that they meet the definition of a townhome. So like a 1 or 2 family home would have typical R1 zoning in this redevelopment area, but an attached townhome is allowed to have the narrower lot. And the differentiator is really how the building provides front and rear access on each lot. So we did get a zoning determination letter from Nick Taylor that they do meet the definition of the townhouse use. I provided a report of conditions of approval to Stephen prior to the last hearing when this is originally listed. I just want to confirm that he has reviewed those. They are the standard conditions for both the subdivision and the site plan, and just they also mandate that the deeded subdivision plat record the shared curb cut for the 2 properties.
The applicant agrees to all conditions.
Thank you, counsel.
That would be it for me unless anybody has any other questions.
No, I think we're good.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion at this time to approve case P19-090 as presented to the board here tonight.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Commissioner Gangadin?
Aye.
Commissioner Torres?
Aye.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Commissioner Takor?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gonzalez?
Aye.
And Chairman Langston?
Aye.
Motion carries all in favor with conditions.
All right, Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all so much. Have a great night.
Thanks, Council. You too. Okay, let's go back to item 9. That's it for our site plans tonight. So let's go back to item 9 on the agenda is the review and discussion of Ivan Petrovsky, Kevork Morad, and Lorenzo Pickett as certified artists. Formal action may be taken.
All right, board. I'm going to take this one for city planning staff. So you were provided with a memo from Joanne Morales from the Division of City Planning. She's Secretary of the Artist Certification Board. It's dated August 21st, 2020, and is a 68-page document that includes some portfolio work as well as the resumes of these 3 artists. And in the memo, they summarize the criteria that these artists meet, and the criteria is down below. Criteria 1 through 6 is met by two of the artists, and 1 through 5 by the first one of those, Mr. Petrovsky. Do you require any other testimony?
I don't. Commissioners, anything? Anybody have any questions?
No.
And actually, this one's new for Jeffrey. I don't think, I think Vidya, you might have had one of these.
Yes.
Past. But yeah, Jeffrey, this is, these artists apply for artist live work units. And there's an artist certification board made up of professionals in their profession. I'm sorry, that sounds stupid. But yeah, they have to meet certain criteria to be put on the list to receive subsidized housing for artists to live and work in. So, you know, as much as we appreciate the portfolios, that, you know, there's some nice work in there, but we're obviously not art critics. So, you know, we go on a clinical determination that they meet certain criteria in the plan. And all 3 artists, you know, meet enough criteria. So that's it. That's it for us. So does anybody have any questions? Okay, thanks, Matt. Is anybody here from public that wants to comment? If you could, please press *9 if you're calling in, or raise your hand and we'll promote you to a panelist and hear you. Anybody want to comment from the public?
Seeing no public, I move to close the public portion.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Public is closed. Obviously, Matt, you just presented that. You don't have anything to add, do you?
Staff recommends approval.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to accept and approve the review and discussion of Ivan Petrovsky, Kevork Murad, Lorenzo Pickett as certified artists, and send to City Council for formal adoption.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Aye.
Commissioner Takur?
Aye.
Commissioner Gangadin?
Aye.
Commissioner Torres?
Aye.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
And Chairman Langston.
Aye.
Motion carries. All in favor.
Okay, thank you. Mike, do you need a break before we start these last 2 items?
Probably not a bad time to take a break.
Okay, why don't we take 5 minutes, everybody, and we'll come back with a master plan reexamination report and some other fun. All right?
Canal crossing.
Let's take 5 minutes, everybody. It's 6:50. We'll come back 6:55, 6:56, somewhere in there. Okay, thank you. Okay, could we come to order again, everybody? All right, so let's move to item number 14 is the review and discussion of a master plan reexamination report regarding amendment to the Jersey City Master Plan circulation element. Formal action may be taken.
All right. Do we have everyone back?
Matt, I know this goes hand in hand with the canal crossing redevelopment plan. Do we want to call both of those items together? Or do you want to?
They're pretty discreet, so I think we'll be fine leaving it as is.
Okay.
All right. So I don't know if I see Santo yet, but I'm gonna proceed with sharing my screen. There you are, Santo. Okay. Excuse me, one moment. All right. So this is a one moment. This is a notice case as a master plan reexamination report. We're required to do public notice in the Jersey Journal. This is a copy of the notice that was submitted to the Jersey Journal. This is a copy of the notice that was run in the paper. We have requested an affidavit. However, them being, I think, short-staffed during these times, they have not provided it to us yet. This is a direct print image from their website, so we know that it did run. It ran on 8/13, and this was noticed for the August 25th planning board meeting, so 10 days prior to that hearing, and just an email to the folks that take care of legal notice.
So Matt, for the record, let's mark it as A1. And when we do get the affidavit of publication from the Jersey Journal, we will supplement the record with that affidavit and have it on file, again, just for purposes of the record.
Thank you, Council. So I'll proceed now with the reexamination report. This was posted to the data portal. It is a rather short report. We are following up on a reexamination report from September of 2019 that was, I think, presented to you by Elias Guzman in City Planning Office. That was related to mobility issues, especially I think it was with the update and the adoption of the bicycle master plan. So this is in a re-examination report. There's just a set formula that the report has to take. So we're addressing the re-examination report that occurred last, and the major problems that was trying to address. Then we supplemented that with the extent to which the such problems and objectives have been reduced or have increased subsequent to such date. I believe that everyone is aware of some of the rollout of the bicycle infrastructure that is throughout the city. So they are moving ahead with a lot of the recommendations that were made in this master plan. So I would, by all accounts, say that they are addressing the problems and implementing the objectives of the bicycle master plan. And then for the main piece, the real kind of the impetus for tonight's re-examination report is to the extent to which there have been significant changes in the assumptions, policies, and objectives forming the basis for the master plan or development regulations as last revised. And I'll skip ahead just instead of reading the rest of that. So there is the circulation master plan that the city has adopted. In there, there is a right-of-way needs map, which is in the circulation element. It's labeled figure 4.4-1. And what we're proposing to do in this re-examination report is what we have been doing over several months now, is we've been working with the JCMUA, the Jersey City Municipal Utilities Authority, and city planning staff, as well as professionals that have either been brought on by JCRA with regards to Bayfront, or by JCMUA in regards to either Bayfront or Canal Crossing, to revise and update the road grids that are envisioned in these two areas. These areas require a major or extensive introduction of a road grid and infrastructure, as well as open spaces. And the road grids that were in the redevelopment plans, as well as carried through this right-of-way needs map, require to be updated based on the recommendations that have come from city planning and from JCMUA and other parties that I was just mentioning. In section E of this, or section C rather, we identified the need for that, and then we have two proposed maps that are going to live on as addendums to that right-of-way needs map, and so we're labeling them map 4.4-1A, and that is to amend the road grid for the Bayfront redevelopment plan area, and propose map 4.4-1B, which will update the road grid to the Canal Crossing redevelopment plan area. And they are also attached as enclosures in this re-examination report. So here is the revised road grid for the Bayfront redevelopment plan area. And the next map, and you'll be seeing this on the next item, is the revised road grid for the Canal Crossing redevelopment area. If the board has any questions, I think that sums up my testimony.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, anybody, any questions? Nothing? Okay, thank you. All right, is anybody here from the public that wants to comment? If you could, please raise your hand. If you're calling in, you can press *9. Okay, looks like we have 2.
I'm promoting CP.
How's it going, Chris? I swear you in, all right? You swear any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And just for the record, could you state and spell your name?
Christopher Perez, P-E-R-E-Z.
Mr. Perez, good evening. We have 5 minutes for you. You know, you
Great.
ready?
Thank you. So I'm a little confused. We're doing both of these right now at the same time. Is that the idea? Because I was a little.
They're separated into 2 separate items on the agenda.
Okay. And my question for Matt was, I thought there were some other amendments that were going to be talked about today in Canal Crossings, or is it being done in different pieces? Because I'm a little confused. Matt, the reason why I'm bringing this up, we had talked about suggesting an amendment about allowing community spaces as an accessory use in parks.
Right.
And
So
something we were going to bring up on this one.
yeah, Mr. Perez, so I will be addressing that on the next item. Okay. This one is to amend the master plan because the road grids are being proposed to be changed. So we wanted to bring the master plan into conformance with the recommendation we're doing in the next item, as well as updates we foresee happening this fall with regards to Bayfront. So
awesome.
Bayfront will be coming back to the planning board with a road grid that would hope, if this is adopted, would match the road grid that is now being spoken about tonight.
Okay, so I spoke prematurely. Hop me off. I'll speak when the next item comes up then. Thank you.
Thanks. We'll see you in a second. Anybody else from public, please raise your hand.
I'm going to promote Teresa.
All right, Teresa, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Are you able to turn your video on?
No.
All right. Well, I'm sorry.
Okay, you're recording.
Yeah, I'm the reporter. I just want to swear you in before you go. Okay?
Okay, okay.
I guess, can you raise your right hand?
I have it up.
Do you swear that any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And for the record, could you state and spell your full name, please?
Teresa Patterson.
Good evening. We have 5 minutes for you.
Hello?
Teresa, do you hear me?
Okay, I hear you now.
Okay, we have 5.
I have one question. And my question is it possible that you can make the advertisement in the Jersey Journal just a bit larger? It's like 2 by 2 and you have the lowest font on it. Can you make it a bit larger next time you advertise it for the Jersey Journal?
I am not sure I have the ability to request that, but I will look into it next time.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else from public? If you want to comment, raise your hand. If you're calling in, you can press *9 to raise your hand. Anybody else?
Seeing no more public, I move to close the public portion.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Matthew, obviously you have a recommendation for us here.
Staff recommends approval.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to accept and approve the review and discussion of a master plan re-examination report regarding amendments to the Jersey City Master Plan circulation element and recommend and forward to City Council for formal adoption.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for approval.
I just want to clarify for the board, this is a master plan re-exam, so it won't be going to the council. This will live just with city planning or the planning board.
Okay.
Got it.
All right, so on a motion to approve, Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Takur.
Aye.
Commissioner Gangadin.
Aye.
Commissioner Torres.
Oh, Commissioner Torres, you're muted.
I'm sorry. Aye.
Commissioner Allen.
Aye.
And Chairman Langston.
Aye.
Motion carries, all in favor.
Okay.
Now, I think, Mr. Allen, you may have an engagement at 7:30 that you had to sign off for?
Yes. Yes.
This item might be longer than that. You obviously can stick around, but just wanted to make you aware that this is probably going to carry past the 7:30 mark. So
Okay,
watch your clock.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Yeah, let's call the review and discussion of the amendments to the Canal Crossing redevelopment plan. The amendments are initiated by staff and Hampshire real estate companies. Formal action may be taken.
All right, let me share my screen once more. Okay. So, commissioners, we are very excited to be here with these amendments before you tonight. Liz Opper, as well as Mallory Clark, and myself have been working very diligently on this for several months now. In fact, this takes us back to 2019 in its inception, and we brought it before the community. It's changed quite a lot. We've refined it, and I just want to start off with making you reminding you what area we're talking about in Jersey City. So this is an area that is west of the light rail tracks and also south of the portion that goes to West Side Avenue. This is, for lack of a better word, I would say this is in Greenville or Bergen Lafayette. It's known as the Canal Crossing redevelopment area. And it is largely this triangle, or diamond shape rather, that is mostly industrial at this time. It is the major roads that go through it are Caven Point, Halliday, Carteret, and Pacific Avenue. With that, I'll move to some of the materials that we presented here or prepared here tonight. This is an excerpt. I don't believe it was posted to the data portal, but this is an excerpt from a presentation we gave to the community. And it just is a little bit easier of a map to look at that shows the extensive road grid in black that will be introduced into this area. So we just talked about the roads that do exist in Caven Point, Pacific, Halliday, and Carteret.
Let's mark that into evidence.
Sure. So this would be A1. And this is a 3-page excerpt. This is looking at the road grid that exists in the plan right now. So this is the old road grid as well as the open spaces from the plan that's currently adopted. Now this is the road grid that's being amended. This grid, actually, I'm going to go one more slide, is an amendment that was focused on making a better grid as far as from the point of view of JCMUA and the infrastructure that they have to introduce, as well as looking at the ownership and the parcel boundaries. A lot of the new roads or adjusted roads have been moved to match parcel boundaries to allow for implementation of roads along with development of individual sites or larger ownership stakes. And the reduction in this grid, it results in a reduction of 80,300 square feet of impervious surface, and it introduced 34,000 square feet, mostly in the area of under the Bayview Bridge. I mean, it's the, yeah, what's that, Bayview Bridge? Yes. Forgetting my street name over there. So some of the major changes is that Dakota Street was straightened out. This is aligned with the map that we just looked at in the re-exam. Then some of these roads in this sort of western quadrant, I'll call it, have been put at an angle along with the parcel boundaries. And then there's been some other roads that have been adjusted in these areas, including the Wilkinson Avenue, Myrtle Street, Claremont Avenue, Pine Street. We added Corgi Street in there. These are temporary names. Some of them, although Corgi Street, I think we would definitely lobby for if you are familiar with the distillery by the same name in that area. Just bringing you to have some sort of familiarity with the road grid. I'll move forward to just the staff memo that was brought along or supplied to the commissioners along with this, these amendments, which I'll bring up in a second. We actually revised this today and posted it to the data portal. So perhaps we want to mark this as well, it's just it being such a late item. So I would mark this, Mike, as A2, the revised memo. The only portion of this memo that changed, and I'll just, I'll scroll to the bottom and then go back to the top, is that upon further review, we wanted to update the utility infrastructure, circulation, and open space cost allocation paragraph in this redevelopment plan. And below it, this is the paragraph that's in the text, and we just highlighted those changes from what was distributed and as distributed as the formal amendments to the Canal Crossing redevelopment plan. So we just added some text. In this case, we specified stormwater, sewer, water, roadways, and the beginning of the sentence was slightly changed to better clarify the intent and the portions of the plan that this paragraph points to. And then going back to the top, I'll just cover the seven sort of overarching goals of these amendments. So it was to update the design, not only to update the road grid, but to update the design language and the development standards, to define the districts in the redevelopment plan, to evaluate the balance of required ground floor commercial versus residential, to clarify the affordable housing provisions in the redevelopment plan, to better discuss the open space, park design, programming, and amenities that are planned for the area, to define that cost allocation paragraph that I just spoke to, and update and clarify or consolidate the maps or the regulating maps in the plan. So with that, I'll now go to the redevelopment plan language, and I'm going to just, I have some pages bookmarked that I will highlight, and then we'll open it up to questions. So these proposed amendments, they're dated August 18th, 2020. There are 2 floor amendments. The one that I just spoke to was the cost allocation paragraph. So I just discussed how the first 2 sentences are slightly altered, and those are in that revised memo by from city planning. We recommend that should you vote favorably tonight to recommend these to council, that we include those changes as a floor amendment, as well as, and this was something that Mr. Perez spoke to in the last item, that in the major zone of this plan, the Zone A mixed use district, under accessory uses, that we add to this list within parks and open spaces. We add the community centers are also allowed, in addition to these other sort of facilities that we allow as accessory uses in parks and open spaces. So staff has no issue with that. We believe that that is a very reasonable request, and even a smart request to include. So that would be the other floor amendment that we would want to bring to your attention tonight. Moving forward, throughout this plan, we highlighted in yellow the new text, and we struck the old text that we are changing. So we made changes to the general administrative requirements. The largest one being that, excuse me, one moment. The largest one being that we are clarifying and making it clear that designation and redevelopment agreements are required for all projects in the Zone A, the mixed use district. It's the main zone. The other zones I'll get to in a second, so you'll see what those are and why it's really focused on requiring them in just Zone A. And so this paragraph is proposed to be included. And we also made major updates to the building design requirements. One notable change that just came up at a recent meeting was that we are allowing for the introduction of IFAS in certain areas on the building. So I'll highlight that one for the board, should you wish to discuss it further. Under number 9 here, the use of IFAS is permitted only on side yard, secondary facades, and rooftop appurtenances. IFAS is not permitted on primary facades or as a water table, which is like, you know, normally where you would see stone close to the sidewalk, on or any building base finish. So water table is just another word for building base. So we made updates to the design standards, really bringing them up to date with more recent redevelopment plans. This plan was originally adopted in 2008, so we felt that it needed this level of refresh for the design standards. There's also been there wasn't much in the way of respecting some of the industrial history that's in this area, so we we're trying to encourage some design in that respect, as well as trying to encourage a variety of design. And so those are reflected in a lot of these design standards. Moving forward to affordable housing regs. It read, and that's actually below, should you wish to read it. I felt, as well as some other staff members felt, that it was confusing. It had it where you get 1 out of 10 units has to be affordable, and every unit that you provide affordable, you get 1 extra bonus unit. So it became very wordy, and it was kind of confusing. So what we did is instead, we felt it was just a lot more clear. We represented, and so the overall unit count represented in the plan didn't include those extra bonus units. So instead, we just, and I'll show you that in a second in the next, I can show you that later on, but what we did is we just added those bonus units into the overall unit count and said that 9% of all, because the ratio before it worked out to 9%. We just said that 9% of all units created in Zone A need to be affordable housing. And then we updated the following language to be aligned with the Division of Affordable Housing and Chapter 188 of the Municipal Code. So we're bringing this up to date. We're bringing this into the now. The Division of Affordable Housing is a recently added division to the city, and they are the compliance arm for affordable housing created in redevelopment plans that's not necessarily receiving some sort of city, county, or state subsidy. A lot of the other elements to this were left the same, such as the affordability ranges. All right, so as stated, one of the major goals for this amendment was to re-look at the grid and to clarify the cost allocation, allocation and the infrastructure, both utility, open space, and circulation that are required of this aggressive redevelopment plan. So we just had some we just clarified some language. We struck other language. We were trying really just with an eye to try to make this as clear as possible. What sort of requirements are expected of redevelopers in this area. One of the items where we thought would bring a lot more clarity is that in the open space section that's sort of lives along with the utility and infrastructure and circulation, we specify required park and greenway design requirements. So there's a number of parks, Park 0P, Park 1P, Park 6P, that are throughout the plan. 6P, 1P, 0P, those are identified on the maps. And then we specified some language and visionary language in these different areas and how they should be designed, how they should be, what amenities they should require or have envisioned. So some of them are soft recommendations, and then others are requirements. But you know, it just sheds more light on what was needed. The way this was accomplished before was just through a concept map that didn't really give you much in the way of any specificity. And I can show you some of the maps that we've cut out of the plan in a second. I will skip over the cost allocation, which we've spoken to a couple times tonight. And now for the specific land. Actually, you know what? I'm going to move ahead to the maps real quick. One moment. All right. So we have a number of maps that we have amended We've combined some, and we've eliminated others. So this is simply a boundary map. This is an updated block identification map. In this map, it shows the blocks outlined in orange, and the block areas and acreage, as well as the identifying numbers, which correspond to a table, a unit summary table here, that show the different units. Moving forward, just another superimposed map, so it shows the existing parcels in gray and the new blocks in orange over them. So you can see where some of the new alignments were made to follow parcel boundaries. It's more of just a useful map for us to include. It doesn't serve much of a regulatory purpose. And here's a map that we included. So prior to the, or currently in the plan right now, there is no zoning for anything in the C zone. And we felt that that was a major loophole in the redevelopment plan. There's facilities here related to the Hudson Bergen Light Rail. There's a maintenance garage and some offices, I believe, for Hudson Bergen Light Rail, as well as employee parking. And there's just another outlier here, which is actually adjacent to the Garfield Avenue Light Rail Station, which is owned by NJ Transit and also identified as the transportation district. Also highlighted in blue, which is the only area of the plan that has zoning now, is labeled, the majority of it being Zone A, the mixed use district, with the small exception of an overlay. First, I'll start with the overlay. It hasn't changed in its boundary. This was an amendment done in early 2019. The boundary remains. It's this more southern portion of the redevelopment area in the mixed use zone, Zone A zone, going in circles here. And then Zone B is just a small portion that was called out in text, but we felt as though we just would write its own bulk standards and make that a lot more clear what we expect there. And it is different from what Zone A is. So Zone B is called out, and it's just this small area here. It's a row of, I believe, 4 or 5 townhouses. So those are being called out as the townhouse district. And then where I started, I'm back again, Zone C, the transportation district. On this map, it does serve a dual purpose. It's also a frontage regulating map. So that existed in the current plan. We've cut back a bit on requiring ground floor retail. We've regulated it in a way that we feel is most appropriate with this revised grid. This doesn't eliminate the opportunity for ground floor retail. We just felt that we would highlight certain nodes and leave it unrestricted in the other areas. So it would be at the will of those developers. But in these areas where you see these sort of hardened black edges, that's where frontage of retail frontage is recommended. And then if I zoom in, there's percentage numbers, and in the base of a building on block 12, 12% of that would be required to be retail or commercial. So on block, and just to go one more example, block 14, it'd be 5%. So that's the revised, the introduced district map and the frontage regulating. Moving forward, we looked at this a number of times. This is the street and transportation network map. In here, we're just we're highlighting the roads. We're highlighting the. If you could zoom in here again. we're highlighting the width of the right-of-way is the first number, and then the width of the street or the pavement is the second number. So there are some wider roads in this area. However, the majority of them that are being introduced are the typical 60-foot right-of-way, 40-foot pavement. There's also some additional information on this map. So we have the greenway coming through, the Morse Canal Greenway. We have some areas hatched, which show that some areas of the grid can be either abandoned for industrial uses that are within the industrial overlay, can undergo a different design, or be replaced with, I believe it's, in that case, it's a multi-use path. Also in these pink hatches, we show different anticipated or desired light rail station areas. These are they're just representative. They're not showing if there's a side platform or center platform. That's all sort of NJ Transit. But there's opportunities in a couple different areas that city planning has spoken with NJ Transit that could occur should the ridership demand be there, and depending on NJ Transit. One thing I want to highlight, just because this was actually posted just the other day. In fact, there was the mayor posted it on Twitter. There was plans for Liberty State Park to expand into the sort of reserved area and make a trail network. So the trail, one of the areas is actually, excuse me, we just switched pages. But one of the areas is actually this is actually the beginning of Liberty State Park, this corner. And there's a parking area here, and this is the beginning of a trail. So we thought that it was actually kind of interesting to see that these green lines actually represent an opportunity to possibly make a pedestrian connection, most likely through a bridge, since there are rail lines that go here. But instead of it being several mile distance from the plan area, that this would be a short run to getting into Liberty State Park. And it just so happens that they're activating this corner. So this could be a major gateway, and this could be a major connection for the city should this come to pass. This is, in fact, some of these connections exist in the current maps of the redevelopment plan. We're just showing alternate and additional ways for this connection to be made. It could be, from this street or this street. I don't know if we're wedded to any sort of street. It's just trying to show that there's this connection that should be thought about and possibly planned for in the future. All right, moving forward, building height regulating map. This is just for the Zone A, the mixed use district. The other heights are regulated through text, which I'll go back to in a second. These amendments were made to, even though there is a change to the road grid, these amendments were made to keep the existing heights as close as possible. There was some changes that we made. One being the way that we represented the language. There was minimum heights in the redevelopment plan previously. We've run into areas, especially in areas where there is maybe a major hurdle to being the first in. So we've seen the brewery come in. It was a single-story building. And so we felt that minimum heights isn't a necessary thing, and it would allow for maybe a more or slower implementation in an area that needs such large investment up front to really effectuate the final vision of this redevelopment plan. So we eliminated the minimum heights, and also we represented some of the heights in a different way. One being on 8 and 11, it was represented that this could go to 50 feet, but we also made it clear that it could be 5 stories, 50 feet. So these are just some of the things that we included. So moving forward, this is the acquisition map. It has not changed. We just brought it into the same format as the existing are the proposed maps that we have. And below, I won't go over them, but those are the existing maps. And all of these are proposed to be removed or either removed and replaced by the maps that I just went through. Going back to my bookmarks. Okay, so Zone A, I'm just going to quickly scroll through this information since it was provided with you. This is the major zone. We just have an extensive list of permitted uses, which in most part already existed. We talked about the floor amendment that we propose. A lot of even though it's highlighted in yellow, most of the additional height requirements remain the same or were clarified. We introduced this maximum permitted intensity of development, whereas the old plan just had a table at the end. We expanded upon that, the intent of the density being through the form, as well as these maximum block units per block. We talked about the original plan really was focusing on whole block development. We're allowing for blocks to be developed in pieces. So we clarified some of that language as well. And this is the unit count summary table. So in addition to it being on that map, we also have it here, and we have it with the block square footage and the block acreage. Scrolling down, this is the existing text that was struck. We have language for the light industrial overlay, which is now called out as yellow text because just because we're introducing these districts. Zone B, townhouse district. It's new text. You know, we made it correspond with a lot of the same townhouse zoning that we see throughout the city. And the transportation district, which covers the NJ Transit as well as the heavy rail areas in the redevelopment plan. So thank you for that. If you have any questions, I will open it up now. I believe that sums my testimony.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, just a couple quick ones. It's a well-written plan, so you know there's really not a lot of space in here for questions. I didn't see any language prohibiting chain link fence. I know there is language on fencing, but is there anything prohibiting chain link?
You know, I actually don't remember if there is. I don't believe there is. I'm not sure if there would be a reference that's covered in the LDO, but that's something that we can include in the design standards should the board wish to do so.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate. Even you know, even in light industrial, I don't think there's a need for chain link.
Okay.
The other question I have is the unit mix and the minimum unit size table is eliminated.
Yes.
For that?
Yeah, so you're referring to this. Oh, 1 second, I'm not sharing. 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah, I forgot what page it was on. I'm sorry. Yep.
I think I have it highlighted now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's struck through. It might be a little bit hard to see, but I'll zoom in a sec. So yeah, as you recall, there was a number of variances even in the last application we saw that was requesting variances both from the minimum unit size as well as the min or max percentages. This is proposed to be eliminated, and in its place, we are proposing something or standard that's much more flexible. We altogether are eliminating, 1 second, let me move up. We're altogether removing the size sort of requirements, and it's right here. and in its place, we're just looking at the unit mix. So, and I can scroll back to that table. But what's being proposed in its place is that a minimum of 70% of all residential units shall be designed with 1 bedroom or more. And so at most you can have, what that means is at most you can have 30% of a building be studio apartments, which we're not really seeing in this redevelopment area, especially with the amount of units we're allowing per block. We wouldn't anticipate seeing buildings of just going all the way up to 30% studios. In fact, I think in that last application, there was very little, if not any. I can't remember it off the top of my head. And then we're on top of that requirement, we're specifying that 70%, 2% of that shall be units that are designed with 3 bedrooms or more. So we saw that there's all over the city that there's been less creation of 3-bedroom units, larger units in the city. So we felt that there is a need to require that. So that's a little bit of a change from the existing language, which allowed 0 3-bedroom units. But we believe that these 2 standards sort of better reflect sort of the market conditions, allow for or reduce the instances where an elevator or strangely shaped lot like reduces a unit slightly under, creating a variance condition, or the bulk permitted doesn't necessarily match the bulk that they want to propose. So we felt that just doing percentages instead of minimum unit size is a better way to regulate this unit mix and what we should expect in proposed buildings. Does that kind of get to what you were asking?
Matt, can I just add something on that?
Yeah, go ahead, Mallory.
Kind of to just expanding on what Matt said, a lot of the minimum unit sizes in this table were quite outdated. And what I think we felt as staff that they would start to actually pose some affordability challenges. A good example would be a 2-bedroom unit with a minimum of a 900 square foot unit size. It's rare in new development, even luxury development, that we see 2 bedrooms of that size. You can have a very comfortable 2-bedroom unit under that. And you can also have, there's more flexibility for than a 2-bed, 1-bath model, for example, and not requiring that second bathroom, which often pushes things into a challenging affordability bracket. So by allowing both the current market and just realistic with what we want development to respond to in building conditions today, we felt that removing the minimum unit sizes, it wasn't going to cause any issues. We aren't really in this part of the city seeing small units proposed or unit sizes that we're concerned about in terms of just not functioning or flirting with, say, a micro unit size. We haven't seen really development patterns go anywhere near that in this part of the city. And so we felt that we wanted to make sure that we're responding to the neighborhood that this sits in and the concerns of the community that we're hearing citywide right now with affordability. And so we felt that some of these requirements really pushed that into the other direction of where we wanted to go.
Okay. My only concern is if those light rail stops come in, I think we might see a push for a micro unit or more studios. So I don't know. I guess we just keep an eye on the market and see what comes down the pike with if there's light rail stops proposed.
Yeah, so I see what your concern in that. I guess it lies with allowing up to 30% being studios.
Yeah.
That I believe with the units that are allowed per block, we wouldn't necessarily see that if they're maxing out the bulk that's permitted, unless you'd see probably much larger units. So I think with the current density, that wouldn't be a concern. But if there's the introduction of bonuses in the future, maybe there's something to be said to looking at that standard more closely.
Okay, thank you guys. Yeah, that's it for me. Anybody else? Any questions?
I want to piggyback off of that one though, with the smaller units, especially the studios. You know, we have plenty of studios that it would kind of affect the affordable housing too, for some developers. That's like if we, because those affordable housing hopefully are geared to some family members too. You know, and in the Jordan Square redevelopment plan. And Matt, I got a question based on the affordable housing requirements. And I read it, and then when I read it again, is in like for example in number 7 of the affordable housing requirements, it almost sounds like affordable housing income are the same thing on the workforce and based on the income of number of members in a household. Is that the intent that you're getting at, trying to make affordable housing and low income housing in the same bucket? Or
I'm having trouble hearing you, Mr. Torres. I think that there's some interference with your microphone.
how about now? Do you hear me better?
Yes.
Better.
Okay, take my headphones off.
I heard that number 7, you had a question about number 7. I have it up on
Just
the.
as an example, and I see it throughout that, and I bet I might be reading it too much into it and not simplifying it. So it sounds to me like the low income housing and affordable housing are basically the same definition and wording for this plan, where we can see that that could not be the case sometimes, right? You know, and I was wondering if we could be more clear on more low-income housing, just like we have also, you have the workforce.
Well, right. I think I hear what you're saying. I guess if we include workforce housing, like inclusionary housing is probably the more appropriate verbiage to use. In this plan, currently, we require a mix of the 9% be the low income, moderate, and workforce housing. So that hasn't changed. And neither has, as it's not highlighted, neither has the title of this. So is that addressing your concern?
Yeah, that addresses my concern, but it seems to me that maybe somewhere we could be more clear where we need to have requirements for more low-income housing and having them in the same as affordable and workforce or moderate, because there is a big difference. You know, me making $70,000 a year and require affordable housing compared to somebody that makes $30,000 a year and needs low-income housing.
So
that's where it's.
So instead of specifying where those different income levels would be built geographically, what I've highlighted here is that all developments shall have an equal number of low income, moderate income, and workforce. So of the 9% of units that need to be income restricted, equal number need to be low, moderate, and workforce. And then in the next sentence, in the case of an odd number of income restricted units, the remaining unit shall be affordable to a low income household.
Okay.
So we're instead of saying, you know, we need the low here and moderate here, we're just saying that as the developments come into place, each one would be required for a proportionate mix of those 3 tiers.
Mushroom mix, okay. So that's what I was saying. I guess I'm reading it, and then I'm getting confused with the repetitiveness of it, and then I'm not sure where I'm going. Yeah, I understand now as you point that out. And otherwise, yeah, that's all. So this is for that area. I think it's something we need to keep looking at. You know, where people are moving into different. As we develop different sections, we need to keep that affordable housing and that modern, especially if the light rail shows up into that area. It's very important to have that mixture.
Yeah. Yes, and I do want to point out, so there is a requirement for some of the units to be low income, and so that doesn't exceed 50% of the average median income.
Yeah.
So I don't remember off the top of my head, but if like the median income is 60,000 a year, then that would be a family earning up to 30,000. So so it does get into the range of lower incomes in the area. So it is meeting a need. That requirement is meeting a need. I've heard that before. With some bonuses more focused on creating moderate income or even workforce housing. So that is one benefit to this, and we're carrying that through with this language. It's not new. It's being carried through.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Eddie. Matt, that actually reminds me of one other question I have. Anytime we have affordable housing proposed, the question I always have is to make sure that the materials are the same as the market rate units in the same building. Can we add that as a floor amendment?
Sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That'll stop me from asking that question every time.
Materials and finishes shall be of the same quality as market rate units.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else? Any questions? All right. Thanks, Matt. That's it. That's for your presentation.
Yes, thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. All right, so at this time, we'll open it up for public comment. Anybody want to comment? Please raise your hand.
I'm promoting Amir. Amir, if you could please unmute yourself.
Okay.
Hi, Amir, are you able to turn your video on?
Can you see me?
No. All right, now I see you.
All right, cool. I'm driving right now. My wife is holding my
All right,
phone for me.
You don't have to look at me. That's fine. I just want to swear you in, okay?
All right.
But do you swear that any testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
For the record, could you spell your name for me, please?
Amir Gadit, AmirGadit.
Thank you.
Mr. Gaddit, good evening. We have 5 minutes for you.
Question is, what portion of this development will be rentals and what portion will be available for purchase, like the condos, townhomes, what have you?
Do you have another question, Amir? I would like to just get them all in so you can listen. Right, well,
okay. Yes, that's one. And two, it's just a general question. I've been hearing about this development plan for years. When can we expect to see buildings start going up? And that's pretty much all I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, to answer your questions, Amir, this is Matt from City Planning. So in redevelopment plans and in zoning in general, we don't regulate the form of ownership. So I cannot tell you how many rentals or ownership units would be developed in this redevelopment area. That will be up to the developers of these projects, whether or not they create them as rental projects or condo projects. And with regards to your second question, the development of this area has been largely impeded by the cleanup of the PPG site, which is nearing completion or almost complete. Anecdotally, I know that there's that Hampshire group, who's actually the petitioner of some of the portions of this amendment before us tonight, with regards mostly to the building standards, the design standards. They are looking to submit an application later this year or early next year, and they seem to be pretty. They seem to be planning for pulling permits shortly after that, and a project usually takes 2 years to construct.
Okay. All right. That's all I had. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mr. Gaddett. Get home safe there.
Will do.
Anybody else? I see a number of people with their hands raised.
Hang on.
Okay, so I'm going to promote this person on the phone. I'm going to allow them to speak. 201-978-4175.
My name is John Froling, F-R-O-H-L-I-N-G.
How's it going,
And
Mr. Hang on just a moment. My name is Mike. I'm the court reporter. I just want to swear you in, okay?
Sure.
All right. Do you swear that any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Froling, good evening. Chairman.
Good evening to you.
We have 5 minutes for you, sir.
Sir, did you get my communication that I submitted to the staff today? I addressed it to Ms. Batista, but it was directed to you, and it had to do with the themes that I was concerned about. Have you seen that?
I have not, sir.
Okay, I would have, my concern is, let me give you a little bit of background. I was involved, we had an organization that existed prior to 2009 when the ordinance was adopted, and we worked extensively with Mr. Carter in working on creating the original ordinance. We didn't create it, the planning department did at that time, and it was adopted by the city council. But that's how far back I go with Canal Crossing. And we had an organization called Morris Canal Associates, LLC, which still exists, which was composed of over 25 business owners, residents of Canal Crossing. And I first want to compliment the staff. I had no idea how complicated this proposed amendment. Is someone else on the phone?
I hear.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. It's very, very extensive. And the thing I was concerned about is that we used to be the, quote, neighborhood association that did an awful lot of work. We hired our own planner. We met with planning department on multiple occasions. And in the ordinance, you have a notice to a group called Greco. And none of those people that are in Greco live in the area in the canal crossing. They don't own any property, and they don't have businesses there. And I did discuss with one of their members Mr. Perez, you already addressed your meeting. And I'm very concerned that the people that own businesses that live in the area have not had adequate notice of the complicated nature of these amendments. And we have not had neighborhood meetings. There have been meetings with the staff, but all those meetings have occurred only after the pandemic. So we all, being lay people, not professionals in the planning department, have to try to figure out what's going on. So I encourage the board to postpone this action, not to deny it, because it sounds like there are plenty of very good ideas, but to let us organize the people that are there now. It's not just Hampshire. Hampshire has an option on the plant site, former plant site, but there are people that operate businesses now. And we should be able to organize those people and to see that their rights are protected and that their input, more important, their input as to the future is taken into consideration. And I do not mean to criticize Mr. Ward or the other members who have done an extremely wonderful, complicated job. The only difference is I'm a generalist and Matt's a technocrat type of person. So there's a lot for us amateurs to learn. But that hasn't really happened here. Like a typical neighborhood building goes up, the neighborhood people get together and understand it. And we haven't had that. I do, and I want to disclose, I'm not here representing the owner of 181 Pacific, but I am a consultant to that company. They've been there for 40 years. And I just happened to find out about these amendments, but we never got any notice that there were these amendments as the owner of that building. So something's missing, and I don't mean to be critical, but nothing has happened in this place since the 1990s, and it's not necessarily going to happen in a year or two. No one controls PPG. They run their own calendar, and they finish when they finish, and nobody tells them what to do. And it's been that way ever since I've been associated, which I believe and I submit longer than probably any of the board members. So I'm familiar with the companies, and I ask that you consider giving the property owners and residents a better opportunity to meet as a group to get their ideas. And that's not to be critical of Mr. Ward or the planning department. They've done an excellent technical job, and I'm not going to be critical about, but there is one area that I am critical, and there seems to be a legal question concerning the very, very important section, which is unique in the law, and that is the community involvement. And the planning department has received an opinion from the legal department that says that provision may not be valid, and that is a very, very important part of the law. And it's section E, and it's on page 8 of the amendments, and that's referred to in my letter. So I respectfully and humbly ask you to consider what's in my communication and give some thought to it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Froling. Now it's your 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Did I make it in 5 minutes?
No, you didn't.
Oh, thank you for the extra time. Thank you. And you're doing a very wonderful job. I mean, this is a very complicated thing, but we have time. We do have time to plan. And I don't think there's an urgency. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman, if I may, just for purposes of the record, we've gone over the notice and we found the public notice to be in accordance with the requirements under the law. And I think it's important to reiterate that on the record. Again, that's as far as the notice provided to anybody who has a property interest that's required to receive notice under the law.
Okay, thank you, counsel.
If I might just respond for the board. So Mr. Vince Visas, who was counsel for the 181 Pacific Avenue, as well as numerous other representatives of property owners in Canal Crossing, were sent a very rough draft of this in December of 2019. And at no time did we receive a request for a meeting from anyone from 181 Pacific Avenue. So where I do hear that public notice should be expected to the property owners on the local redevelopment housing law does not require notice for an amendment to a redevelopment plan, but it was done just the same, as well as we met with the community group that's listed as the community empowerment group, and the redevelopment plan is not proposed to be changed as part of these amendments. And we met with the leadership, as well as had a community meeting in early August. So we believe that there's been an extensive amount of outreach and notice to both property owners and the community at large.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Okay, anybody else? I see a number of hands raised.
I'm promoting Eugene.
Good evening.
Mr. Paulino, good evening.
This is an unusual position for me to be commenting from this side of the aisle, at least. I do represent. Well, you want to swear me in? No.
No, you're an officer of the court.
Okay, I am. I do represent a company called Holiday Investors that owns property on Block 23 in the redevelopment area. I had some exchange of emails with Matt about one or two items relating to the redevelopment.
Dean, can you turn your video on?
Sure. If I could find out where it is, I could turn it on.
I'm actually not seeing the option to invite you to start your video, so you may not actually, Gene, have the ability.
I don't have the video option?
I'm not seeing, I usually see an option to invite people to start their video, and I don't see it for you.
Okay, I did something wrong, obviously. I apologize.
Come on, Gerard.
So I thought you were seeing me. I'm not happy about that. In any event, I've exchanged some emails with Matt. I had some issues. The primary issue that I had related to the relationship between the bulk standards and the density that results from those bulk standards. Dean Marchetto is going to be, and I hope he has a video on, Dean Marchetto is going to be following me on the same client and the same issue for Block 23. And we noted that there was an anomaly that, in fact, what results is because of the available bulk standards and the density requirements under the unit count summary, you end up with a unit that is 1,300 plus square feet. And it just is not, as Mallory pointed out, economical. It doesn't make any sense in that location. I'm also concerned about the provision in that context. I'm concerned about the provision that if that should be the case and the units should be oversized, that if there was an application to the board to seek a deviation, the deviation provision in this plan is really kind of sparse. It's one line. And I don't know whether it would be, whether a density issue would be cognizable by virtue of the deviation provision in the plan. So I am concerned about that. The technical part of it, Dean would talk about, and maybe it's worthwhile not seeing me since I'm going to be really short. But that's the issue. The issue is I have a client that will have a piece of, owns a piece of block 23. If he builds as of right pursuant to that provision, to the heights permitted in that provision, he ends up having to have units that are 1,328 square feet. I think that's the number, which is very large. And if you're talking about 900 square feet being large for a 3-bedroom, imagine what 400 square feet more would be. It would almost prevent the very thing that you want to do, which is encourage development. If you don't have a financeable building with units of a size that permit the financing, then you don't have a building. So that's my spiel for tonight. And Dean Marchetto, if he's raised his hand, should follow and give you the technical details as to the numbers. Thank you. That's it.
If I may respond, so again, these are maximum heights. So we've gone through the scenario in which Dean Marchetto will probably present. So they don't have to build that. They can build a building that's shorter and still economical, and builds a unit at a unit size that would be economical. So I'm not necessarily sure that it's worth hearing from Marchetto, but if he wishes to comment, we can go over and rehash the emails that we've shared. One of the purposes of these amendments was not to increase density or heights, as testified. I don't know if I testified to the fact that we're not increasing densities, but we're not in the current plan or from the current plan. So that's been communicated to the owners. It's been communicated to the public at large.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Yeah, if we could, let's bring Dean up now.
Dean.
We're bringing him up now, Gene.
Got it.
Hi, Dean. I swear. Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
For the record, could you state and spell your name, please?
Yes, it's Dean Marchetto, M-A-R-C-H-E-T-T-O.
And Dean, just to make the record clean, we have qualified you as an expert before. Your license is current tonight?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you're qualified and sworn. Go ahead.
Thank you. Would it be possible to share my screen?
You have the permission to do so.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay. Thank you for the time. I too represent the same developer Gene was talking about, and we just did a quick illustration to try to understand the density as it relates to the form. And I just wanted to go through this. This is a short 3-page presentation that we sent to Matt. And so he's seen it, but I just wanted to share it with the board. My client owns this section in the mixed-use district here in black. I can zoom in here. He owns 38% of this block. This is block number 23. And this is a 3-dimensional view of what the bulk regulations allow on this block. And this block is a 6-story component with an 8-story component on the corner of Dakota Street. The property we're proposing to build would be a a commercial lobby, non-residential ground floor. And according to the bulk regulations, I could build 5 stories above it, full floors, and then 2 more stories here on the, I guess that would be the south end of the block. And so if you take this allowable bulk and you try to put in the density that's allowed, if you take the 176 units that's allowed on this block and you multiply it times 38%, which is what this portion of the block is, the zoning by density here on this site is allowed to have 65 units. So what we did was we took this building and tried to see what 65 units would fit in here. And so I have an illustration showing a floor plan. This would be the ground floor plan showing parking, some retail on Halliday, a lobby on the corner, and some mechanical space. And this would be a non-residential ground floor. In the next illustration is a typical floor plan that I can build 5 of. So if you were to take a building and you're allowed to build a building 75 feet deep by the full length of the property, 215, and you divide the 5 floors from the allowable density, which is 66, you really only can get, I'm trying to move this over here, 13 units per floor times 5 floors gives me my 65. And so if I did that and I filled up this floor plan, allowing for elevators, corridor, and stair, 13 units per floor times the size of the floor, I'm going to get units that range on an average between 1328 and 1588. Here's one unit that's 1920 feet. I would suggest, based on our familiarity with developments of this sort, that the next page, which is this page, would have a more typical organization of units. You see I have a few studios, I have quite a few 2-bedrooms and some 1-bedrooms, which would be a normal mix you would find. And if I were to insert those mix of units on a floor like this, I would get upwards of 20 per floor.
Breaking
and
up.
21 units times my 5 residential. I'm sorry, let me open the door here. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry for that. What I would suggest is that if you applied a normal number of units to this floor plan, which is the allowable bulk, times 5 floors, that would be 21 times 5, and it would seem to me that the appropriate density for a property like this, with this bulk, with a common mix, albeit it includes 2 bedrooms, 1 bedrooms, and if you look at the mix in the redevelopment plan, they talk about a maximum number of 30% studios and a minimum number of 2% threes. This is well within that range. So I'm sure that the framers of the ordinance anticipated that it wouldn't all be large 3-bedroom units. And so this would be a more typical common mix that you would find. And it would total 21 times 5, would be able to get 105 units here within the same bulk as you would get, if you had the 3 bedrooms. So again, I guess I'm just want to say that I believe that there is a little bit of a disconnect between the size of a building that I'm allowed to build, the use I'm allowed to put in here, and the number of units that you're allowed to put in that bulk. Matt has mentioned in our emails that you can build a smaller building and therefore take 1 floor off or take the heights off on the south end. As you know, just to go back here, this is the bulk of the building. And of course you can build a smaller building here, but the best chance of having this plan realized, in my opinion, is being able to do a balanced zoning that allows for a match between the density, the mix, and the bulk of the project. And so I would just suggest that maybe we could look at the density again, because you can see from this example, 65 units over 5 floors, my sizes of apartments, they're all bigger, threes and bigger, 1,200, 1,300, and 1,385, 1,900, 1,700. These are very large units, and it would become, difficult for a developer to market all large units. So that's all. I just wanted to make that point and ask for reconsideration. We're very happy that Canal Crossings moving forward. I see a lot of work has been put into the plan, but I just wanted to present this. I believe that there's some disconnect between.
Dean, can you go to your proposed introduction of more units, please?
Go where?
Go to the page where you show more units. And the average unit size, what does it say there in the table on the top right?
8. Well, the net size is 835.
And did you review the email that I sent you on August 26, 2020?
Yes, I did.
And did you agree with the math that I proposed in that email?
Well, yeah, I did. You're basically saying
it was calculated correctly, correct?
Yeah, but
based on the same way that you created that net square footage per unit?
Yes.
Using the bulks that I laid out in that email?
Yeah,
and,
I believe your calculation.
And the net square footage that I proposed in that email was, do you remember what it was?
850.
Is that very different from 835?
No, it's not different at all. But Matt, the point I'm trying to make here is that you're saying, yeah, we can build a smaller building and get.
Sure. We heard that. Have you reviewed the permitted uses in the redevelopment plan?
I have.
Does it allow for other uses above the ground floor?
Yes, it does.
So I don't know if there's necessarily an issue to discuss here, but thank you for your comments, Dean.
Okay.
We've talked about this previously, and I think this is actually a testament to the public outreach that we have done here tonight, or for this effort.
All right, thank you, guys. Let's continue on with public comment if we could. Thanks, Dean.
I can promote someone else now. I'll promote CP.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Chris. You've already been sworn in tonight. You're
Okay.
good. So you're on record, and we have 5 minutes for you.
Great. So first of all, I'm a member of Graco, which is the community group that is on the notifications in the redevelopment area. I'd love to just give Matt and Mallory a little bit of kudos. They've put a lot of work into this. They've listened to us. They've been through a handful of meetings. They've offered their email addresses for people to give feedback. And there were lots of little pieces that we picked and suggested and what have you with them. And I was really happy to see that they really thought and took on all those pieces. I'd probably have a huge headache handling all that. So I want to thank them for really working with the community, engaging with the community and listening to the community and being really creative about different components, whether it's about the affordable housing, because we were concerned about the affordable housing targeting the various AMI income tiers, or ideas of ways to connect to Liberty State Park, or issues about the transit areas and how they didn't really have zoning. So I really appreciate the work that they've been doing. In terms of the floor amendment, we would like to see community spaces be allowed as accessory uses in areas that are designated for open space. I'm sure if you've listened to the news in Jersey City, we talk a lot about the need for community centers. And I think this will create an opportunity to maybe have some smaller ones built out in spaces that are designated for park area. So I would love to see that floor amendment added to this. I also want to address the concerns about this density and bulk. You know, Matt was talking about, you know, up to a certain height. And we do need to be mindful of that. This redevelopment area sits right at the base of the hill of a historic community called Sherwood and Claremont. That community is Jersey City's first planned suburb from the 1850s. And it is going to lose some of the views that the neighborhood has enjoyed for over 100, nearly 200 years. And I think this plan really plays into trying to balance getting density while also preserving some of those view corridors. And if we're gonna up the density, then we should make the affordable housing 20%, you know, or 25%, or something like that. So I don't really think that that's a good idea to finesse that. And I also want to speak about Graco in terms of, we do a very good job of publicizing this information. We have an email newsletter that we email out. We have a Facebook page. Often we flyer, and we do connect with people all around and within the redevelopment area. That is the reason why Graco was founded, to empower the community, especially when they were just about to build on a chromium-laden site. And the founding members picketed and advocated for a proper remediation. So with that said, anybody who wants to be in touch with what's going on in Graco can email us at gracocommunitygroup@gmail.com. You can also find the Graco Canal Crossings Facebook page on Facebook. And one of our real missions is to make sure everybody knows what's going on. With that said, I think all of these changes are great. You know, we have a brewery that's opened up. They're building the film recording studio, and we're starting to see Canal Crossings start to take shape. And I hope to see it be a balance of light industrial and residential, so we can also create employment opportunities for our community. And with that said, I'm done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. We appreciate it. Okay, anybody else from public?
I'm promoting Felicia.
Can you see me? Greetings all, can you see me?
No, we can hear you. We can't see you yet.
Where is it?
That was the wrong button.
I'm promoting her to panelist to see if we can see her.
Okay, now here I am. Greetings all.
Hi, how's it going? I just want to swear you in, okay?
Yes,
You swear any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes.
And can you state and spell your name for me, please?
Felicia Collis, Felicia, last name Collis.
Ms. Collis, good evening. We have 5 minutes for you.
Good evening. I thank you for affording me the opportunity to speak. First and foremost, thank you so much, Matt and Mallory, for all the effort you put forth and working on our canal crossing redevelopment. I would like to say, I don't want to be redundant, but it would be appreciated that community centers are added to the accessory use. That way it creates a level playing field for developers, and it would not cost the community to make poor, compromises or bad compromises. And again, thank you for the opportunity, and thanks again, Mallory and Matt, for your effort.
Thank you, Ms. Collis. We appreciate it. Okay, anybody else? We still have a couple hands raised.
Yeah, promoting Allison to panelists.
Hi, Allison. Can you see me?
Yeah, let me turn my light on. Sorry, I'm in the car.
Let's swear you in, okay? Do you swear any testimony you give the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Can you state and spell your name for me, please?
Allison, Allison, last name Trimble, T as in Tom, R-I, M as in Mary, B as in boy, E-L-L.
Thank you.
Ms. Trimble, good evening. We have 5 minutes for you, and I hope you're not driving the car right now.
I'm not, I'm a passenger.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to say I'm a community member in the area, and I do want to thank Graco. The whole reason I know about this project is because of their outreach to the community. I also did speak in front of you all in regards to the film studio, which thank you for passing in this area. I think it's a great project. And I really think that overall this is a good balance. Matt and Mallory have done a great job taking our feedback as a community and really finding kind of the middle ground of what we want and what is best for the area to bring development and further the area. So thank you so much to Graco and all that they've done for this. I would have to say the community empowerment on this and partnership with the city is probably the best that I've experienced as a community member and in a redevelopment plan or area. And yeah, I want to make sure that we are including that community center space in this amendment or in this project or redevelopment plan so that we can have those community centers. As Chris stated, you know, in Ward F, we have a great need for those elements, and it's definitely in the news, and we're trying to figure out where to put those. And I think this would be a great cornerstone project or area to put community centers. So I just want to really stress that we include that.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Promoting Morris Canal.
Hello. I just want to swear you in, okay?
Hi, yes.
Can you raise your right hand? Any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And for the record, could you state and spell your name?
June Jones.
Thank you.
Jones. I'm with Morris Canal Redevelopment Coalition. I've spoken before the board many times. As you know, that we have been in existence for quite a while. The canal crossing was originally a part of the Morris Canal redevelopment plan. I'm really happy with the work that was done in the plan, and looking at some of the language. I see there's some things, Matt, that we need to review for Morris Canal as well, because it just makes sense. A couple of things I did want to mention, just learning from our experience as being the first community group to include and write the community empowerment clause. I think it works well when you have communication with the city. And from the testimony, it seems that there was great communication that went on. I noticed though in a couple of things that I wanted to point out in number 4 of the community empowerment clause on number 8, when it talks about site plan and remediation and investigation, the notice that you give for us, and I don't know if it would work well with canal crossing, but it should be groundbreaking as well. Interruption of the ground, I think, is fair notice for community residents nearby. What typically happens is that we come before the board approves the plan, things happen, and groundbreaking doesn't take place for 2 years, sometimes 3 years, and then all of a sudden it's done and nobody knows about it, except that there's problems with noise, there's problems with safety issues, there's problems with rodents in their neighborhood. So what we've learned recently is that there's a checklist that is supposed to be checked off before any demolition takes place with any project. And I think those things are important for the community to know about and to learn and to be aware when groundbreaking is going to take place. Just recently, we had that issue. There was no fencing. There was a lot of minor, well, not necessarily minor, there was some major issues with the demolition. And we just happened to come across it because of the problems that it created. I think that might be something that might be helpful and alleviate less problems. The other problem is the baiting, because that seems to be a big problem. We used to have major raccoons and possums. I think they've lessened now, but the mice and the rats in the area that may have housed in a neighboring house that has been abandoned for many years usually creates a problem. And then number 6 in the community empowerment clause, the liaison, the city liaison. We used to have someone that is specifically assigned to the community to address not only the redevelopment problems and the planning problems, but the remediation, the investigation, the whole 9 yards of that. And I'd like to see that come to fruition, because that really has not been enforced by the city, and it specifically says city planning and an environmental commission on those issues. One of the other issues that we've experienced that would like to see some kind of language is that not to promote projects for a developer solely for the purposes of selling it for a profit. We found that many of the projects that have been approved by planning board in the city of Jersey City, several of them have not come to fruition, but have been flipped many times. And if there was some kind of language that could be creatively incorporated for developers who come before you and ask for, especially for variances and waivers, to do development projects and just to line their pockets with profit is wrong, because it rapes the community of supporting an idea that was really not a true desire. And then on the affordable housing piece, I think that's a great idea to incorporate that in. I don't know where it fits in with inclusionary housing, but the Commissioner Torres, I think, mentioned earlier that, or it might have been the chairman, that he'd like to see materials and finishes done the same in each unit. And that is so true. That happens quite often. And I think that alleviates problems. But in addition to finishes and materials, locations of units, affordable units should also be a part of that, so that the affordable units are not always all of them facing the back wall or the less desirable location in the building. And my last comment that I wanted to make about the affordable housing piece is that I know that HUD has a regulation that talks about AMIs and income limits, and whether it's 30%, 50%, or whatever it is. I think somewhere, especially if a project is not getting monies from a government agency, because they do oversee and what can and can't be done in HUD regulations. But the AMIs, when we first started in 1999, was $37,000. And now with the sparse of gentrification and the new income and groups of people that's moving into our neighborhood, the AMI is now, the average income is approximately $65,000. So it makes a difference in the what is affordable and what is not affordable. And that's something we ought to look at. And I know HUD overall has governance over that, but in areas where we can have a say-so in that, we should talk about that as well. And then finally, when we talk about affordable housing, I don't think we'll be able to do any affordable housing ever if we don't address this issue of this fake referendum that the mayor has put upon the city, where there's no abatements at all. If there's ever a need for abatements, it certainly is a need to do affordable housing. Otherwise, it's just not going to get done. And we're going to experience the same problem that we have in Morris Canal, where people just don't want to do affordable housing. They just do as of right. And then the gentrification, it just aids to that process that is happening. And then we have more and more higher income people that move in and no place for the lower income people to move. Thank you. I yield.
Okay, anybody else? I see we still have one person with their hand raised.
I promoted Teresa. Teresa, if you could unmute yourself.
Yes, hi, this is Teresa Patterson.
Hi, good evening, Teresa. You testified already?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. You're sworn in already. We have 5 minutes for you.
Well, I wanted to ask questions about the affordable housing.
Sure.
Affordable housing, I'm finding that it's not affordable to the lower income person, the average lower income person making maybe 25 or 30,000. They're not in that bracket. And I'm wondering if you could put that in somewhere where it could be more affordable housing, low income housing.
So the low income versus brackets, it's mixed equally in this plan.
You say that's equally?
Yes, yeah, Matt testified to that before. It's the lower income brackets are mixed equally with the other brackets in this plan.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else from public, please raise your hand. Dean, we already had you testify tonight. We can't have you testify twice in the same application. Anybody else?
Seeing no more public, I move to close the public portion.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Public is closed. Matt, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I had one more thing to add. It was going back to some comments or a comment by Gene Paulino referring to or calling into question whether or not he thought that the way that the density is regulated in the plan would hold up to a request for a deviation or a variance from that table. Staff believes it will. We think that the language in the plan makes it clear that unit count table is setting the density. This is not atypical. It is a similar control on density is done in the Liberty Harbor North redevelopment plan in the form of a capacity table. So we believe it will hold up to a request from a variance and would be treated as a D-variance in this case. I did want to put that on the record. With that, staff has no further comment.
Thanks, Matt. And one other thing, Ms. Jones brings up a good point about unit location for the affordable units. How could we word that as far as, making sure that the mix of the affordable units is throughout the building as opposed to one specific area?
That is typically I believe that is typically the practice of the affordable housing agreements. I've worked with Gigi Gazan, the director of the Division of Affordable Housing, on crafting this language. There was the unit mix, in fact, wasn't she wished that we didn't address the unit mix and left that up to either the board to consider at the time of an application or up to an affordable housing agreement. And it may be something to also leave to the Division of Affordable Housing to square away when they receive applications with affordable housing. So I feel confident that we collaborated with them to a level that they deem suitable. But we could, if the board wishes, to include language like that.
Could we maybe put language suggesting it instead of a shall, put a should?
Okay.
That way, it does give us a little bit of teeth when it comes into where the units are located. So you don't put that in there at all. That we're
sure. I hear you.
As of right, we really don't have a leg to stand on to make sure those units are pushed around the rest of the building.
That is a good suggestion, Chairman. I'll include it. So we'll do something along the lines of units should be, affordable housing units should be distributed proportionally or equally throughout the building and floors.
Good, perfect. Thank you, Matt. Okay, anybody else before we make a motion? And I see Teresa has her hand raised. I'm sorry, you're only allowed to testify once per public hearing.
And public is closed, Chairman.
It's closed already. Okay, so Leonard.
Yes, so I'd like to make a motion to accept and approve the review and discussion of the amendments to the Canal Crossing redevelopment plan as presented to the board here tonight, and forward and recommend to City Council for formal adoption.
Second.
Okay, motion is made and seconded.
Okay, on a motion to recommend, Commissioner Gonzalez.
I think you guys did a really good job, Matt and Mallory. And, you know, you obviously were very passionate about what you were doing. Presentation was beautiful, and I vote aye.
Commissioner Thakur.
Good job, Matt and Mallory. I vote aye.
Commissioner Gangadin.
I just want to say, Matt and Mallory, thank you so much for this comprehensive plan. I want to thank the community members for coming out and speaking about their concerns as well. And it's always good to get it from the beginning as this plan is just being laid out. I vote aye.
Commissioner Torres.
I also would like to, on the record, state Mallory and Matt and the whole staff, planning staff, very good job on this. You could tell you guys were doing your homework, especially when questions came up and firm on your answers. I was proud of you. You know the plan. Good job. It gives me confidence in your firmness of this plan, that we're on the right path. I vote aye.
Commissioner Allen. Sorry, Commissioner Allen is absent. Commissioner and Chairman Langston.
Yeah, I'm going to echo everybody else here. Staff, this is a great plan you wrote. I'm really impressed. It's a real exciting plan as far as you know, just the different aspects of uses. There's a huge amount of uses available in this plan. The affordable housing is great. And Matt, I think you touched on it before. This plan allows for second floor retail also?
Retail, office, correct.
Great, I'd love to see it. Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility in here, but at the same time, it's, you know, it is written to rein in certain problems that we see across the rest of the city. The community outreach, I think, was great, just judging from the amount of public that came out and, you know, supported this plan. So, again, thank you to staff. Thank you to the public that came out. It's, you know, this is a great community. They're very engaged, and you know, it's always a pleasure to deal with Great Go. So I am happily going to vote aye for this.
Motion carries. All in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
All right. So that's it, everybody. Let's move on to memorialization of resolutions.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to memorialize the following resolutions. There's 9 today. First one is resolution of applicant 333 Grand Street LLC for amendment to preliminary and final major site plan approval. Property address is 333 Grand Street, block 14002, lot 1.04, case number P19-120. Next resolution is applicant at 477 Monmouth LLC for preliminary and final major site plan approval. Property at 477 Monmouth Street, block 9908, lot 28, case number P20-023. Next resolution is applicant Gopalji LLC / DVSRD LLC for amendment to preliminary and final major site plan approval with deviations. Property address at 248-250 Academy Street, block number 12204, lot 1 and 30, case P19-167. Next resolution is applicant Sims Development LLC for minor subdivision approval. Property address is 1904 JFK Boulevard, block 25503, lot 9, case number P20-029. Next resolution is applicant Roosevelt Urban Renewal LLC for amendment to site plan approval. Property address is 180 10th Street, block 8802, lot 6, case number P20-040. Next resolution is applicant HP Lincoln Urban Renewal LLC for preliminary and final major site plan approval. Property 201 Erie Street, block 8801, lot 3, case number P20-041. Next resolution is applicant 829 Garfield Holdings LP for preliminary and final major site plan approval with deviations. Property address is 829-843 Garfield Avenue, block 22704, lot 7.01, formerly known as lot 7, 8, and 9. Case number on that is P20-051. Next resolution is Journal Square Ramp LLC for 1 year site plan extension of previously approved preliminary and final major site plan with deviations and conditions. Property is 808 Pavonia Avenue, block 9404, lots 34, 35, 41, and block 10601, lots 38 and 39. Case number P20-062.
I think that's
Next,
Orlando. I think that's the
Yep.
last one. The last resolution is being held off.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So I didn't check
Regarding,
that one.
yeah,
Yep.
regarding the
Thank you.
subdivision. Yep.
Hey, could I get a second from somebody?
Second.
Thank you. And could we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Commissioner Decor,
Aye.
Commissioner Torres,
Aye.
Commissioner Gangadin,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Gonzalez. Vice Chairman Gonzalez
Oh, aye.
and Chairman Langston.
Aye.
The motion carries.
All right. Do we need an executive session?
Yes. Yes, I would like 1 minute of the guy's time.
1 minute. 1 minute, Mr.
1
Mr.
minute, I'll
Torres.
give it to you. Yep.
Only 1 minute, Mr. Torres.
All right. We have to clear the attendees out. I apologize, everybody. We have to go into executive session.